When I opened my eyes, the first thing out of my mouth was a shout. Once I get reborn, I'm marrying 10 wives. I stretched, eyes still shut, groaning through the ache in my skull. The night before, I downed 2 full caddies of Matai to close a $3 million deal for the company. The client had finally signed. I figured I'd wash up, head in, and put my name on the contract. Then a feather duster cracked across my thigh. First thing in the morning, and you're already talking nonsense. These days a man's lucky to land 1 wife. And here you are dreaming about 10. What kind of pipe dream is that? I yelped and jerked my eyes open. My mother was standing right there beside me. I nearly launched off the bed. Ma, you're not dead. Zhao Xiuyan raised the feather duster and gave me another furious round of swats. You little turtle egg. Your ma is alive and well, barely past 40. What? You're wishing me into an early grave. Newspaper had been pasted over the packed earth wall. On it hung a curling old calendar. June 9th, 1975. Damn, I really had been reborn. I grabbed her arm, half delirious with excitement. Ma, how much money do we have left? Go get it, right now. If we head to the capital and spend a few hundred yuan, we can buy a whole courtyard house. Someday it'll be worth 100 million. We're rich. We're going to be rich. I was practically dancing on the heated brick bed. I want to invest. I want to strike it big. Ma, go get me the bank book. She shot me a glare, turned, and walked out. When she came back, she had a broom stub in her hand. She climbed straight up onto the Kong and started whacking me. I don't care which demon or ghost has crawled into my boy. Get out of my son this instant. I howled and scrambled all over the bed, begging. Ma, stop. I just had a dream. I was talking in my sleep, that's all. Really? Her arm froze in midair. Really. It took some doing, but I finally calmed her down. No more running my mouth. Lesson learned. Just then the big loudspeaker at the head of the village crackled to life. Hello, everybody listen up. It was village head Li Fugui's voice. All you unmarried young fellows, get down to the brigade office. There's a good thing waiting for you. I'll say it again. All you unmarried young men, come quick, good news. I sat there thinking, and slowly it came back to me. Summer of 75. That was when a big group of people without registration were resettled into our village. Among them were 3 young ladies from wealthy families, sent down from the city. 20-some people all told. The men were given household registration and houses outright. The women couldn't do farm work, but could cook, so most of them were snapped up by the village bachelors and hauled home as wives. Only the 3 rich men's daughters were left, untouched. They ended up in the cattle shed, going out to the fields with everyone else. Pampered their whole lives, used to being waited on. For them, the countryside was hell. Within a few days, the 3 of them were too worn out to even climb off the Kong. In the end, 2 of the 3 sickened and died. Only one, a woman named Shen Rian, survived long enough to see her family cleared and be taken back to the city. 20 years later, a dozen Mercedes rolled into our village. Shen Rian had become a woman worth a fortune, with more than 30 bodyguards around her, come to bring her 2 dear sisters home. That was when the old bachelors finally understood they'd let 3 mountains of gold slip through their fingers. Well, a second life. Time to give those young ladies a roof over their heads. I pulled on my shoes, hopped down, and changed into clean clothes. Ma, I'm going to go take a look. Maybe I'll bring you home a few daughters-in-law. Get lost. She rolled her eyes and went back to tidying up. By the time I reached the head of the village, a crowd of bachelors was already packed 3 rings deep around the brigade office. There were even a couple of 11 and 12-year-old boys shoving to the front, hollering that they wanted in on the good thing, until Li Fugui kicked them back out of the crowd. You brats even grown your feathers in yet? Come to gawk, huh? Go home and go back to your mother's tit. The crowd roared with laughter. Li Fugui waved for quiet. All right, I've got an announcement. Behind him stood a row of women. He pointed at them and shouted at the top of his lungs. Everybody knows our village is short on people. These folks want to settle here in Kaoshan Village. Any of you boys looking to take a wife? If you see one you like, you can take her home right now. At that, the bachelors' eyes lit up. They practically pulled out their bank books to show off how much they had saved. Soon, all the big, broad-shouldered women had been claimed. Only the 3 young ladies were left. I recognized Shen Rian at a glance. In my last life, I'd been among those bachelors, and I hadn't thought twice about the 3 of them. But looking at them now, With the eyes of a man from the future, those were top-tier figures. Every curve where it should be, slim waists, delicate mouths. Li Fugaway saw that no one was picking the three of them, and his scalp was buzzing with worry. If he couldn't get these three sorted out today, he'd have to allot them grain tonight and find them somewhere to live. He called out to Accountant Lu's boy. Dazhuang, come here, look how nice these three girls are. Pick one for a wife, eh. Lu Dazhuang curled his lip. I don't want a wife like that. One look and you can tell she can't work the fields. In that era, up in the Northeast, muscle was still the main source of labor. So when men picked wives, they wanted broad, sturdy women who could shoulder half a pig at a go. Dazhuang's rough voice was louder than a tractor, and it sent the three of them trembling. Li Fugaway was scratching his head raw when I quietly raised my hand. I'll marry her. Io. Li Fugaway slapped his thigh with joy and grabbed hold of me like he was afraid I'd bolt if he let go. Ah, nephew, you've saved your uncle here. Come on, take your pick. Which one do you fancy? I gave a broad wave of my hand. No need to pick. I'll take all three. The moment the words left my mouth, the noisy crowd went dead silent. Lu Dazhuang was the first to needle me. Brother Shamlin, you drag these three home who can't do a lick of work. With your old man's dead-end forest warden wages, how many mountains worth of game are you going to have to hunt to feed three wives? The crowd howled again. I just waved them off. That's my problem. From this day on, as long as there's a bite of food in the Qin house, the three of them won't go hungry. Shen Ruyan and the other two exchanged looks. This Qin fellow, he didn't seem so bad. When I claimed them, I honestly hadn't thought that far ahead. It was only as I walked the three of them home that it hit me. At this point in my life, I hadn't yet learned to hunt from my father. Well, that was a fine mess. Three more mouths at the table all of a sudden. How was I going to get through the coming days? If I'd known, I wouldn't have been so rash. Reborn, sure, but no cheat system, no anything. I was still stewing on it when a voice rang out in my head. Ding! The mountain god space has been activated. As I walked the three of them home, I turned my attention inward, studying this space of mine. I'd read plenty of these era throwback novels with a system attached. But a mountain god space, that was a first. It worked like the ordinary storage spaces I'd read about. An expanse of black earth that could grow without limit, and a spirit spring that stored things. Behind the fields rose a mountain. The longer I stared at it, the more familiar it looked, because it was the very mountain my father guarded. That was when it clicked. The mountain god meant me. I could control every plant and creature on that mountain at will. I gave it a test. With a thought, I shrank the mountain down, tapped a little spring, and dragged it from the left side over to the right. When I let go, the spring simply appeared in its new spot. Unbelievable. From now on, the whole mountain was mine. Tomorrow I'd climb up and confirm whether the spring had really moved. I scooped a mouthful of water from the spirit spring and drank. At once a wave of ease flooded through every limb, every joint, and my whole body brimmed with strength. I pulled out of the space just as the four of us reached my front gate. Ma, we're back. Zhao Xiulian was sweeping the yard. She looked up, saw me arrive with three girls, and asked in surprise, "Who are these?" "The daughters-in-law I brought home for you." I puffed out my chest, proud. "I told you when I left, didn't I? I'd bring you back a few. You little rascal, look at you, learning to fool your own mother." She raised the broom stub and chased me around the yard. Ma, hold off. If you don't believe me, ask them yourself." She stopped and turned to the three. "You came back with him to be his wives." Shen Ruyan and the others glanced at one another, then nodded. I crouched on the stone roller. See? I wasn't lying. She tossed the broom aside, pulled me off to the side, and frowned. "You bring home three of them, all skinny arms and skinny legs and tiny waists. What are they good for? Soft and frail looking, like they couldn't do a stroke of field work." "They're not that skinny," I said with my back to them, keeping my voice low. "Isn't it a good thing? Curves where curves ought to be?" She rolled her eyes. "What good's a wide backside? Can it put its weight behind a hoe?" My face went hot. "A wide backside means she can give you a big, fat grandson." "Nonsense." She landed a punch on me. "Your dad and I don't favor boys over girls. Whatever gets born is our child, and we'll treasure it either way." What she hadn't expected was that her rotten little son would actually bring home a wife. Three of them, no less. "Well, take them to wash up. I'll go make some food." The house wasn't rich, but there was still grain to last a while. Once she fattened these girls up a bit, they could take on some light work at the production team. With that in mind, she tied on her apron and went into the kitchen. "Come with me," I told the three, and led them to the washroom. After a moment, I said, "Why don't you introduce yourselves first?" Truth was, apart from Shun Ruyan, I couldn't recall the other two's names at all. Shun Ruyan went first. 19, from the capital. The second was Lin Rui. 18, also from the capital. The third was Xiao Wanxiu, 18 as well, only a few months younger than Lin Rui, the youngest of the three. Young as she was, her figure gave nothing away to the other two. All three had been sent down from the capital. Exactly why, I didn't press. "All right, I've got the picture. From now on, settle in and don't worry. Same as I said before, as long as there's food in my mouth, I won't let any of you go hungry." With that, I turned and left. Before long, dinner was ready and the three had finished washing up. They looked a good deal easier on the eyes now than they had, all grimy and haggard, earlier. "Shanlin here. Take this to your dad first." My father was the forest warden. Every morning, I carried him a day's worth of food. And if there was something good in the house, I'd bring him a portion again in the evening. Today counted as a day of new arrivals, so my mother had killed a chicken and picked out a few good pieces of meat for her old man. Sure, I took the food box and told the three of them, "Eat with Ma. Don't wait for me." Shinruya nodded politely, but didn't pick up her chopsticks. In the months since her family's downfall, she'd learned to read a room. Newly arrived in a stranger's house, not yet sure how things stood, she wasn't about to take a host's courtesies at face value. And seeing that she hadn't moved, Lin Rui and Xiao Wanxiu didn't dare move either. I stepped out. I hadn't even cleared the yard when my father, Chen Jiangwo, came hurrying in. "Dad, why aren't you up watching the woods? You're back." Usually when he came down to rest, I'd cover for him half the day. His face was stern. He caught sight of the three women sitting inside and demanded, "You dragged those three home. And just what do you plan to do with them?" Someone had gone up the mountain that afternoon and told him his son had brought home 3 wives. It had thrown the old man off all day. He'd rather leave the woods unwatched than not come home and see for himself. I gave an embarrassed laugh. "So you already heard, Dad." He snorted. "With what this family has, marrying you 1 wife would be a stretch. And you bring home 3 all at once. What is it, trying to work your mother and me into the grave?" If they'd all been women who could work, fine. But 3 delicate ones like these, we truly couldn't feed them. I rushed to explain. "Dad, hear me out. I've got a family now. I'll work hard. I'll earn. I'll provide for them. Once your son's making money, you and Ma won't have to lift a finger." His face only darkened further. What kind of skills did his 3rd son really have? Who would know better than the father who raised him? Just then village head Li Fugue walked in, and the moment he spotted the 2 of us, his whole face lit up. "Brother Jiangwo. Nephew. Haven't eaten yet." He came closer, saw the storm cloud on my father's face, and no doubt guessed it was over the 3 young ladies. But those 3 were already mine now, and he wasn't about to agree to take them back. So he ignored my father and turned to me with a smile. "Nephew, the wives you brought home, how are you all getting along?" I gave a little laugh. "Just fine. We'd been together a few hours and barely traded a dozen words. There was nothing to tell, really. But since he asked, I said what he wanted to hear. Nephew, there's something I came to let you know." "What's that?" "It's like this." He gestured toward the house. "The higher-ups take this group we resettled very seriously. There's a good chance they'll come to inspect in the next day or 2. So when you go out, be careful." An idea struck me. "That's easy. I'll take them up the mountain tomorrow and have them stay there a while." The instant Li Fugue heard I meant to take the 3 young ladies up the mountain, he slapped his thigh with delight. Nephew, that's a brilliant decision. As long as they weren't sent back to the brigade office, they could ascend to heaven for all he cared. He'd have signed off on it." He made a show of a few kind words, then left, thoroughly satisfied. Once he was gone, I grinned. "Dad, why not come in, eat a little, and then head back?" My father shot me a look, yanked the food box out of my hands, threw back his sleeve, and stalked off. My mouth twitched, and I went back inside. Knowing my old man, though, he hadn't given in yet, but this was as good as settled. Growing up, our parents had been strict with all of us, but they'd always respected our choices. My mother looked up in surprise. "Back so soon?" Dad came home, then left again. She raised an eyebrow, but, with outsiders present, said nothing more. I saw the three of them still hadn't touched their chopsticks. Why aren't you eating? Go on. Dig in. You must be starving. Only after I sat down and picked up my own chopsticks did the three of them follow suit and start to eat. Watching how well-mannered the girls were, my mother softened toward them. After the meal, we sat out in the yard to catch the cool air, and she cut us a watermelon. The house wasn't well off. Grain was just barely enough, but it was summer, and the vegetable garden was overflowing. In summer, at least, no one went hungry. The three of them had suffered no end of hardship these past 2 or 3 months. They'd already been thrilled with the chicken stewed with mushrooms at dinner. Now, at the sight of watermelon, their eyes went wide. Afraid they'd be too shy to eat their fill with her sitting there, my mother said, "You girls chat a while. I'll go clear out your elder brother and sister-in-law's room for the three of them." Lucky for us, my eldest brother had gone back to his in-laws with his wife and child. Otherwise, there truly wouldn't have been room. I hadn't planned to stay in the house long anyway. Once we settled up on the mountain, I meant to fix up the old cabin from top to bottom and give the three of them a decent place to live. After a couple of slices, I decided to test out the black earth in my space. You three keep eating. I'll go fetch your bedding. First, I went to the storeroom, where a good store of seeds was kept, took a packet of bok choy seed, and carried it into the space. Above the black earth was a one-touch input. I didn't have to lift a finger, one press, and the planting holes dug themselves. After that, I tapped one touch sow and one touch water. With a rush, a column of water shot up from the spirit spring and poured over the soil. I watched the bok choy seeds I'd just planted sprout on the spot, pushing right up out of the ground. So the spring water hastened growth, too. Above the black earth, a maturation time for the bok choy began to display. Normally, it takes anywhere from half a month to 2 months. My space showed 3 days, which meant at least 10 odd times faster than out in the world. Having tested the earth, I came out of the space, planning to give the mountain god functions a proper trial once we got up the mountain tomorrow. By the time the watermelon was finished, it was about time to sleep. I fetched the three of them quilts and pillows and told them, "Get a good rest tonight. After breakfast tomorrow, we move." "All right," Shenrian answered. And just as I was pulling the door shut, she added, "Thank you." In the months since her family's troubles, the three of them had endured no end of cold looks. Almost everyone who saw them wore that impatient expression, as if they were poison. I smiled. "It's nothing. From now on, we're family. No need for that." After I left, Lin Rui and Xiao Wanqiu burrowed into Shun Rian's quilt. "Rian, do we really have to marry this man?" All their lives they'd been pampered daughters, well-educated girls. If not for the disaster at home, they'd have been sitting for university exams. Instead, here they were, stuck in this rundown village. Shenrian tried to comfort them. "Since we're here, let's make our peace with it. Marrying Chen Shanlin is far better than marrying one of those old bachelors. At least he isn't bad-looking, and he seems honest enough. An ordinary country bachelor might well have demanded they share his bed this very night." Chen Shanlin hadn't so much as hinted at it, and that let the three of them breathe easier. "Get some sleep. Don't worry too much, you two. We'll take the days as they come, one step at a time." The next morning I set about the move. There were 5 children in the Chen family. Above me were an older brother and an older sister. Below me, a younger brother and a younger sister. My eldest brother was off visiting his father-in-laws. My second sister had married last year. The 2 youngest were away at school in town and came home only on holidays. I was the third. Day to day, I helped my father watch the mountain, hunted now and then, or picked up odd jobs at the production team. We were a family that scraped by. My mother might scold me for showing off, but in truth she bustled around nonstop, terrified we wouldn't pack enough and would go hungry up the mountain. She went out to the garden and picked us a mountain of greens. The wild boar meat we'd caught a few days back had all gone off with my brother and his wife. There were still 3 chickens in the yard, and she picked out one of the layers, absolutely insisting we take it along. A hen only laid 1 egg a day, but at least every few days we could eat one and build ourselves up. These 3 girls were too thin. She honestly doubted they'd be able to carry a baby someday. "Ma, stop picking," I said, looking at the pile of cucumbers, beans, and eggplants on the ground. 3 days' worth of vegetables is plenty. Save the rest for my brother and his wife when they get back. They'd be home with the child in another day or two. That little bit. Who's that going to feed? She snatched the basket out of my hands and loaded in a good deal more, lecturing as she went. You marry someone, you treat them well. Don't let them go hungry. All right, I hear you. And so I took the three of them up the mountain. I'd expected my father to still be wearing that cold face. But when we arrived, the old man had already scrubbed the cabin clean from the inside out. He told me, conditions up here are limited. Stay a few days. Once the inspection blows over, come back home to live. All right. Thanks, Dad. I called the three over. Ruyen, Rui, Wanshio, come here, let me introduce you. This is our dad. They glanced at one another, and then, with little choice, called out in unison, Dad. When the three of them, with no real choice, called out Dad in unison, Chun Jangwo's whole body went stiff with discomfort. He grunted an answer and turned to head back down the mountain. Just then Lu Dazhuang came hurrying up, dragging Li Dan along with him. Li Dan, everyone called him Li Guden, was the youngest son of village head Li Fugui. The two half-grown boys arrived huffing and puffing. Uncle Jangwo, come up the mountain with us a minute, would you? Up the mountain. My father glanced at the sky. Weather's no good today, and neither of you can hunt. What do you want up there for? A forest warden's job was to oversee everything on that mountain. Anyone going up or coming down had to register with him. And for the past week, there'd been orders from above. No hunting on the mountain on account of the weather. Not to hunt, Uncle Jangwo. We just want to go up and see why that spring on the east side stopped running. Both boys had sweat beading on their foreheads. Their two families lived at the east end of the village, close to the foot of the mountain, so they always fetched their water straight from the base of the slope. That spring water was clear and sweet, worlds better than the well water in the village. But somehow, starting yesterday afternoon, the spring at the mountain's foot had gone dry. So the Luanli households had sent two boys up to ask my father, the warden, why the spring they'd drunk from for decades had vanished overnight. Hearing that the east side spring had dried up, I remembered. That was the very spring I'd moved yesterday. My father was puzzled too. That doesn't make sense. Small as that spring is, it's deep. How could it run dry? Let's go take a look. Lu Dazhuang and Li Guden followed the two of us up. Where a little spring had bubbled every day, there was now only a black, gaping hole, not a single drop of water. Strangest thing I ever saw. In all his years, my father had never witnessed anything like it. I picked up a rock the size of my fist and dropped it into the hole. A long moment passed before it hit bottom with a distant plunk. Well, it's dry all right, my father said, and turned to the boys. From now on, your two families will have to fetch water from the well at the west end of the village. Seeing their glum faces, he added, spring water's a gift of nature. If nature's taken it back, there's no fault to find in that. All right then, Uncle Jangwo. We'll head back. The two of them trudged home, heads hanging. Watching their backs recede, I felt a private glee. Being a mountain god felt damn good. All right, Shanlin, I'm heading back too. No one will be coming up to hunt these next 3 days, so you all settle in and don't worry. With that, my father started down. The whole way down, the old man turned things over in his head. My eldest brother had a family and could support them, but he'd never split off. He still lived with the two of them. My youngest brother was only 15, years away from marrying, no cause for concern yet. It was me, the third, who gave him the most grief. Back home, he called my mother inside. Shilian, do you figure that boy Shanlin can really keep a household fed someday? I doubt it. She pursed her lips. Look how thin those girls are. All three together aren't worth one able-bodied woman. Feeding the family's going to fall square on our son. He lit a leaf-rolled cigarette and thought a while. Maybe I'll put in for retirement and let the third boy take over my post. Whatever else, it'd mean a steady wage every month. Taking over the job would also give me a reason to stay up on the mountain long term. With that many wives, it'd spare us the wagging tongues that came with living down in the village. My mother considered it. Kid's father, why not wait for our eldest to come back and let the brothers talk it over together? There's only the one warden's job. Don't let work drive a wedge between them. 5 years back, when my brother Chindashu got married, my father had wanted to hand the job over to him. But he'd been under 50 then, and they'd said he was too young to retire. On top of that, Chindashu's wife had no interest in a mountain keeper's life, so nothing came of it. He exhaled a stream of smoke. Fine. When the eldest is back, We'll hold a family meeting. Up on the mountain, I got the three of them settled. I cooked lunch, and after we'd eaten, I laid it out for them. I've got some things to take care of the next few days. You three stay put. Lock the door at night. And during the day, keep close to the cabin. Don't wander far, understood? No one would be up hunting soon, which meant next to no one would come up the mountain at all. When they heard I wouldn't be sleeping there tonight, all three of them looked relieved. The cabin was a single room, the Kong small, barely enough for the three of them. If I'd stayed the night, they truly wouldn't have known how to arrange the sleeping. I hadn't thought that far into it. I just gave my instructions and left. Now that I had a family, I knew I had to shoulder the burden of providing. A man with empty pockets wouldn't do. So I decided to use these few days to head into town and sell some mountain goods for cash. I had wives to feed now. Before I went down, to be safe, I decided to arrange a bodyguard to protect the three of them. I entered the space, pulled up the mountain model, and found a snow-white leopard. Go to the cabin. Protect Shenrian and the other two. Let no one near except my parents. I thought about it and added, if someone comes, just scare them off. Don't hurt anybody. The leopard understood at once, rose, and went streaking off through the trees toward the cabin. I came out of the space and set off toward the right side of the mountain. I wanted to confirm whether the spring I'd relocated had actually started flowing. About half an hour later, I reached the spot. Seeing the water burbling out, I couldn't help exclaiming, "This is unbelievable." I cupped a handful of the sweet water and drank, far better than well water. Standing by the spring, an idea came to me. Why not move it right beside the cabin? It would make daily water so much easier for the four of us. My father used to walk miles to the back slope just to draw drinking water, a real nuisance. No sooner thought than done. I went into the space, found my current position, and shifted the spring to 50 meters from the cabin. Right then, the leopard I'd sent happened to arrive at the spot. Seeing water suddenly well up from the ground, it started to drink. I laughed. Brother leopard, don't just drink your fill. You've got wives to guard for me. Ever since I'd drunk the spirit spring water, it seemed I had strength to burn. No matter how far I walked, even running the whole length of the mountain, I never tired. Working through the model, I dug up 10 50-year-old wild ginseng roots, each about half a caddy. On the black market these days, one root fetched close to 50 yuan, 10 roots, 500. Enough, by my figuring, to buy Shenrian and the others their daily necessities. I made another circuit of the mountain and dug up some valuable medicinal herbs. Conservatively, another 200 yuan's worth. But I still wanted vegetable seeds and the like, and 700 didn't feel like quite enough. So I picked out 2 fat, big-eared wild boars from the model. A moment later, the 2 came charging straight at me and slammed into a big tree at my side. My mouth twitched. Suicide hunting, I'd never seen the like. I'd hunted boar with my father before and had made a point of learning how to butcher the meat to keep it at its freshest. I took a chopper and a boning knife out of the space. With the spring water in me, the blade rose and fell, and in no time I had both boars fully sectioned and stored away. At current black market prices, pork ran about 50 cents a caddy. The 2 boars came to 800 caddies all told, worth about 400 yuan. Carrying 1,100 yuan's worth of meat and herbs, I came down the mountain well satisfied and, without a moment's rest, made straight for town. Truth be told, I'd have gotten better prices in the city. But in these times, a trip to the city required an introduction letter from the village branch secretary, and I didn't want anyone tracking my movements, so I settled for town. Black markets generally didn't open until the small hours. I reached town right as the crowd was thickest. Before I started, I did as the others did and tied a cloth over the lower half of my face, safer for any buying or selling that way. First, I found an empty alley, pulled the 10 ginseng roots and the herbs out into a big cloth sack, and began strolling around at an easy pace. It was my first time at a black market and I didn't know the rules yet, so I didn't dare set up a stall like the old hands. After a while, I wandered up to an herb stall. A man muffled up to the eyes was examining a ginseng root, about 10 years old. When he'd finished, he asked the vendor, "You got any with more years on them?" The vendor waved a hand. "That's the oldest in the whole market. If I don't have an herb, I guarantee you won't find it anywhere else." Seeing how sure of himself the vendor was, the man had no choice but to pay for the 1 root. Once he'd settled up and left, I trailed behind him. The moment I saw no one else around, I stepped up and tapped his shoulder. Hey, brother, interested in 50-year wild ginseng? I drew half a root from the sack, let him get a look, and tucked it back in. Yes, yes, yes. His eyes lit up and he nodded eagerly. Young man, however much ginseng you've got, I'll take all of it. I held up 10 fingers. He asked the price and paid without a single haggle, taking the rest of my herbs along with it. 700 yuan in hand. I went back into the market. Buying daily necessities for the girls would take ration coupons, and I had none. I'd have to purchase those too. Luckily, coupons were everywhere for sale, and I found a coupon runner easily. I bought a big pile of every kind, spending 200. By the time all that was done, the market was nearly breaking up. The boar meat wouldn't sell tonight. I'd have to wait for tomorrow. I noticed the pork sellers all came with flatbed handcarts. I'd stuffed the meat straight into my space that afternoon and hadn't even thought about a cart. After dawn, I found a quiet little park and slept through the morning. In the afternoon, I got started on daily goods and bought a flatbed cart to use for selling the meat that night. Everything ready, I pedaled the cart to the black market and sold the boar to the middlemen without trouble. 400 yuan in my pocket. When morning came, I turned every last cent into supplies. Plenty of vegetable seed, plus piglets and chicks, ducklings and goslings. 2 days and 2 nights, and it was all done. I loaded up and headed home. Before I reached the village, I checked in on the cabin through the space. The 3 of them were sitting outside the door, faces drawn with worry. The snow-white leopard lay sprawled on the cabin roof, lazily sunning itself, perfectly at ease. It struck me as funny. They had no guard instinct at all, hadn't even noticed a leopard on their own roof. I quickened my pace, eager to get home. The 3 of them, in truth, had grown anxious. I'd been gone 3 days now, and the vegetables from home were nearly used up. If I didn't come back today, they'd be down to eating leaves by evening. Xiao Wanxiu, the youngest and the most timid, asked with a sniffle, Rui, do you think that man just took off and left us for good? Why else 3 days without a word? No thought for them at all. Shen Ruyan wasn't sure herself, but she felt Qin Shanlin wasn't that sort. Let's give it a little longer. If he isn't back by tomorrow, we'll think of something else. Lin Rui stared into the distance and said flatly, She spoke the least of the 3, and her temperament was the coolest. Xiao Wanxiu clutched her stomach. So hungry. In months of being tossed about on the road, they hadn't tasted meat, and thinking of the chicken stewed with mushrooms from a couple of days ago set her mouth watering. Shen Ruyan shook her head helplessly and went to the coop to see whether the hen had laid an egg. But for some reason, day after day, there wasn't a single one, even though Zhao Shulian had said the day they moved in that this hen laid one a day. Ruyan, what are you looking at? Xiao Wanxiu came over, curious, trying to figure out why she won't lay. Hearing them, Lin Rui came over too, and the 3 of them peered in together. The hen crouched listlessly in the coop, eyes shut tight. Lin Rui pressed her lips together, then said, Have either of you fed her these past few days? Shen Ruyan and Xiao Wanxiu both shook their heads. The 3 exchanged a glance and hurriedly opened the coop. Feeling it swing, the hen came bursting out clucking and set to pecking for food in every direction, looking, if anything, hungrier than the 3 of them. So she wasn't laying because none of us fed her. Xiao Wanxiu clutched her stomach and, pitiful, added, Who'll come feed me? Her words had barely left her mouth when I came up in the distance, pushing a flatbed cart heaped with good things. Don't fret, Wanxiu, I'll come feed you. All 3 turned at once, and at the sight of the goods piled mountain high on the cart, their eyes lit up. Xiao Wanxiu ran over, and when she spotted a whole side of meat, she was so delighted she nearly drooled. Ruyan, Rui, come quick, both of you. I smiled and pointed at the mesh bags. It's not just meat. Look, by now Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui had come close too, and they saw it was true. Not only pork, but all manner of daily goods. Large things, pots and pans, table and chairs, quilts and bedding. Small things, soap and towels, combs and face cream, and every sort of cake and candy, and malted milk powder. I pulled 2 bolts of cloth from the middle and said with a grin, These are the patterns that are popular in town right now. Not up to city fashions, but they're new. One of these days we'll go down and have Ma take you to have a few sets of new clothes made. Xiao Wanxiu stared at the cakes and candy, gulping. With this much good food in front of her, even her attitude toward me shifted. She changed how she addressed me and asked, testing, Brother Chun, you bought all this food, and it's really for us? Of course. Otherwise, why would I have gone to all the trouble hauling it back? In fact, it hadn't been any trouble. I'd only pulled the cart and goods out of the space just before reaching the cabin. They simply didn't know that. Shenruyan hadn't expected this man to be so generous with them, and it moved her a little. Seeing a faint sweat on my forehead, she took a handkerchief from her pocket and held it out. Wipe your brow, Brother Chun. That was a hard trip. I glanced at the clean white silk handkerchief, but didn't take it. No need. My hands are dirty from the meat. I'd only ruin it. Put it away. Back up the mountain, I picked a smaller boar from the model. Young boar is tender rather than tough, easier to stew through and richer in flavor. Once the piglets in my space grew up, we could eat farm pork. Farm pork actually tastes better than wild boar, but in these lean times ordinary folk might not eat meat more than a few times a year. Wild or farmed, so long as it was a bite of something meaty, it beat anything else. Then don't move, Brother Chun. Let me wipe it for you. Cheeks slightly pink, Shenruyan came slowly up and reached to blot the sweat from my brow. Off to the side, Lin Rui turned her face away, thinking something I couldn't guess. Sweat wiped, I unloaded the cart, keeping the heavy things for myself and handing the lighter goods to the three of them to carry inside. Not one of us was idle. In under half an hour, we had everything squared away. I took a bucket and went around behind the cabin. Sure enough, the spring I'd moved before I left was gushing away. I hauled 2 buckets back and set to work on the boar. Shenruyan didn't stand on ceremony. She rolled up her sleeves and started rinsing the blood from the meat. Xiao Wanxiu, though, spent a good while working up her nerve and still couldn't bring herself to touch raw, bloody meat. Brother Chun, what kind of meat is this? She asked, curious. Back at her family's home in the capital, she'd rarely even seen raw meat, let alone a live pig. A pampered young lady, she naturally didn't know one cut from another. Wild boar, off the mountain, I explained. Caught it on my way back just now. We'll stew it in a bit. Hearing there'd be stewed meat soon, she clapped her hands. Wonderful. Thanks to you, Brother Chin, we get to eat meat. She felt she couldn't just stand and watch. She ought to help. But faced with the faintly gamey smell of the meat, she still couldn't make herself touch it. Seeing sweat bead on my forehead again, she got a bright idea, whipped out her handkerchief, and leaned in solicitously. Brother Chun, let me wipe your sweat. Wiping sweat counted as helping, didn't it? Not idle, and no dirtying her hands. She pressed her lips over a hidden little smile, quite pleased with her own cleverness. 3 of the 4 of us were busy. Lin Rui, uneasy at standing empty-handed, came up and asked, Is there anything I can help with? Where Shenruyan was gracious and capable and Xiao Wanxiu sweet and charming, Lin Rui carried a natural aloofness, cold as frost, something of an ice beauty about her. I looked up, but before I could speak, Shenruyan cut in. Rui, come help me ladle water. My hands are greasy, can't manage the bucket. All right. Lin Rui let out a breath. Thank goodness. At least she hadn't been set to cutting meat. I worked quickly and split the boar in 2. Half we'd keep to eat. The rest I meant to send back home. By my reckoning, my brother and his wife should be back with the child by now, and I wanted to send some daily goods along to the family too. Half a boar came to 70 or 80 caddies, more than the 4 of us could get through. I set aside the fore and hind legs, rubbed them with salt, and stored in a cool spot they'd keep 2 or 3 days without spoiling. The rest I put all on to stew. Tonight the 3 of them would get their fill of meat. Out in the country, in summer, the iron pot usually sat on a stand in the yard. Shenruyan helped scrub it clean. I lit the fire, put the meat in, and added seasonings to cut the gaminess. Before long, the smell of meat drifted across the whole yard. It smells so good. Brother Chen, how long until it's done? Xiao Wanxiu was sitting under the eaves, talking, when something landed on her face, something sticky. She touched it and caught a whiff of raw musk. Ugh, what is that? The 4 of us looked up. Apart from the straw shifting on the roof, we saw nothing. I pulled my gaze back, and it hit me. The leopard I'd sent over must still be nearby. A look at the model confirmed it. The leopard was indeed lying on the roof, poking its head out now and then, drooling over the half-boar I'd butchered. My apologies. I'd been so busy stewing meat for my wives that I'd clean forgotten Brother Leopard. When the moment was right, I tossed the boar's head from my space to the leopard and sent it off to eat on the back slope. Wild boar takes a long time, 2 hours at the least. Keep an eye on the pot. I'm going down to take the meat home. I checked the time. I could be back before dinner. Pushing the half boar down the mountain, halfway along I pulled out brown sugar and malted milk powder, cloth, cigarettes, and liquor from the space. All of it bought in small batches over these past few days in town. I'd just gotten the cart to the foot of the mountain when I ran straight into Chundashu and his wife, laden with bundles big and small, on their way up. Big brother, sister-in-law, you two headed up the mountain? My eldest brother Chundashu heard my question and answered, hum. Your sister-in-law and I were just heading up to bring you and your wife some food. Ma said you'd only taken 3 days' rations. Seeing me pushing a brand new flatbed cart, my sister-in-law Li Chunhong asked, puzzled, Shamlin, where'd you get this cart? Coming down the mountain, I'd found 2 flour sacks and loaded all the pork and the rest of the food into them. The village had too many prying eyes and shallow-hearted people. Every so often, someone who couldn't stand seeing a neighbor do well would sneak off and set fire to their woodpile out of spite. I glanced around, and only when I saw no one coming did I dare tell my brother and his wife the truth. I bought the cart in town. These 2 sacks are all food. I was just about to take it home. Since you two came, you can push it back. Chundashu and Li Chunhong set the vegetables and eggs they'd been carrying onto the cart and circled it several times. This is a fine cart. The wheels look real sturdy. The 2 of them worked in the production brigade day in and day out, both broad-shouldered and thick-waisted, with strength to spare. After finishing their brigade work, they never rested at home either. The moment supper was done, they'd head out to clear more land. In these times, the government encouraged reclaiming wasteland, and whatever a household opened up became theirs. So in summer, their family never lacked melons, fruit, or vegetables. Lately, the 2 of them had cleared all the ground near the house and wanted to open up plots farther out. A cart like this was exactly what they'd needed. How could I not know what my brother and sister-in-law were short of? I patted the cart bed. Big brother, sister-in-law, I bought this cart for the 2 of you. Then I opened the 2 sacks to show them. At the sight of the wild boar, the malted milk powder, and the cloth, Chundashu said in surprise, Third brother, you went after wild boar by yourself? That's dangerous. Usually, when the village went up to hunt, it took at least 5 or 6 men to have any real chance against a savage boar. And now here was his younger brother, just married, going after boar alone for the sake of a living. If I got hurt, what would become of the wife at home? Something curdled in his expression. I'd been 20 before I married, and he always felt that was his failing. We brothers had been close since we were small. I knew he was worried about me, and I hurried to explain. I didn't go hunting. Today I went to dig ginseng, and a little boar happened to run off course and killed itself against a tree. I just hauled it back so everyone could get a taste of something good. He nodded, relieved. Well, if that's all, it was fine. You remember this, though. If you run out of food, come home and take some. Don't ever go up that mountain to hunt alone. You hear me? He and his wife broke their backs reclaiming land precisely so the family would have vegetables to eat and never go hungry. Li Chunhong pulled open a sack mouth and looked. There was brown sugar and white sugar inside, and, of all things, 2 tins of milk powder. Milk powder was a rare treasure. The last time she'd seen any was 3 years back, when she'd had her child. She asked, curious, Shanlin, all this food and cloth, you bought it? That's right. I said it happily. Sister-in-law, you don't know the half of it. A few days ago, I dug up some 50-year wild ginseng up the mountain and sold it in town for several hundred yuan. This is all for you. Take that cloth back and make a new set of clothes for each of you. Oh my goodness. Li Chunhong was over the moon. Well now, looks like your big brother, and I didn't treat you good all these years for nothing. Chundashu puffed out his chest, proud. Of course not. How could my own little brother not amount to something? When the small talk wound down, he added, Third brother, are you busy right now? If not, come home for a spell. Pa says there's a matter he wants to talk over with the 2 of us. I did the arithmetic. If I went home now, then came back after we'd talked, it'd surely be dark by the time I returned. I didn't want Shenruyan and the others going hungry, waiting on me for supper. Big brother, let's leave it for tonight. If I get back late, I'm afraid the girls will be frightened. I'll come home early tomorrow morning. All right then. Your sister-in-law and I will push the cart back for now. He stuffed all the vegetables, melons, and eggs they'd brought into my arms, then took his wife and headed home. I watched them go, then gathered everything back into the space and turned up the mountain. Near the cabin, I brought it all out again and carried it into the yard. The smell of stewed boar filled the whole yard. These past few days of running about, I hadn't eaten a proper meal. The four of us set the new table up in the yard. The boar had stewed over the fire for 2.5 hours, gone soft and tender. One bite, and the flavor only deepened the longer you chewed. I split the big watermelon in half, spooned out 3 cups of watermelon juice, and poured myself a cup of erguo too instead. Well, now, that watermelon juice put Xiao Wanqiu in high spirits. She called me Brother Chun this and Brother Chun that, cozy as could be. Halfway through the meal, she insisted on dancing for me right there in the yard. Rian, quick, sing for me, the way you used to back home when we performed together. Shen Ruyan glanced at me, a little bashful, but with Xiao Wanqiu urging her, she finally said, all right. Figuring that up on the mountain, with no one around, she let Xiao Wanqiu have her way. Xiao Wanqiu rolled her shirt cuffs up, bearing a stretch of pale forearm to move more freely. Noticing Lin Rui's eyes go a little distant, she said with regret, pity Rui's Guqin isn't here. Our performance would be perfect otherwise. Never mind that. Shen Ruyan turned and fetched 7 clean big bowls, filling each to a different level. Lin Rui understood, picked up wooden chopsticks, and tested the notes. Satisfied, she gave Xiao Wanqiu a ready signal. Crisp, ringing music rose to meet Shen Ruyan's clear, winding voice. In the center of the yard, Xiao Wanqiu waved her arms lightly, turning, leaping. The light of the setting sun fell across her, and she looked like a fairy come down to earth. I watched spellbound. Truly, this was the life of an emperor living hidden away in the mountains. I looked over at Lin Rui then. As she struck the porcelain bowls and watched Xiao Wanqiu dance, her whole bearing had softened. She no longer seemed so cold as frost. As the tune ended, Xiao Wanqiu, carried away and forgetting she had trousers on, dropped into a difficult full split. That split was a mistake. From below came a distinct RIP. The smile froze on her face. There it was. The crotch had torn clean open. She was so mortified she didn't know whether to cover her face or her backside. In the end, Shen Ruyan handed over her own jacket and draped it around Xiao Wanqiu's waist, and the awkwardness passed. Time moved fast, and before long it was time to sleep. While I was out of the room, Xiao Wanqiu tugged at Shen Ruyan's sleeve and whispered, Ruyan, there's only one room and one bed here, and there are 4 of us tonight. How are we supposed to sleep? The question of how to sleep tonight was one Shen Ruyan had been fretting over for a while. Only earlier the hour had still been early, and it hadn't felt as pressing as now. A kerosene lamp burned in the room. She told Xiao Wanqiu, how we'll sleep, we'll figure that out in a bit. First take those trousers off and let me mend them, or you'll be wrapping a jacket around yourself when we go out tomorrow. Before being sent down to the countryside, they'd brought quite a few clothes. But these months they'd never had enough to eat, so the 3 of them had traded away their garments and trousers to the locals for cornmeal, which was the only reason they hadn't starved. Trade after trade. Each of them was down to the single set on her back, without even a change to wash and rotate. By the dim light, Xiao Wanqiu peeled off the trousers and burrowed under the quilt, pouting. Today I've disgraced myself to Kingdom Come. How am I ever going to face Brother Chen after this? Thinking back on that RIP from below, she wanted to find a crack in the ground and crawl in and never come out for the rest of her life. It's fine. Shen Ruyan comforted her. You didn't show anything. Brother Chen won't even remember it. Xiao Wanqiu puffed her cheeks. She hadn't shown anything, true, but that sound, how mortifying, like breaking wind, made her seem the very opposite of a lady. Shen Ruyan soon finished mending and handed the trousers over. Looking at the cotton fabric washed pale with age, Xiao Wanqiu said with distaste, how long am I going to have to wear these ragged trousers? I miss my little dresses so much. I wonder what's become of them. Shen Ruyan thought of her own Chi Pao and couldn't help feeling the loss. For those like them, whose homes had been ransacked, all those clothes and ornaments had probably been destroyed along with everything else. Lin Rui, who had said nothing all this while, heard them mention dresses and rose, going over to the table. When I'd come back that afternoon, Besides the bolts of cloth, there'd seemed to be a bundle of floral print fabric, something that looked a bit like dresses. She rummaged through it, opened the wrapping, and found there really were dresses inside, and more than one. She carried them over to Xiao Wanqiu and said flatly, "Here, the dresses you wanted. Wow, Brother Chun is too good to us. He bought us dresses too." By the faint lamplight, Xiao Wanqiu lifted them one by one to look. The cuts aren't bad, but these little floral prints look kind of countryish. Village taste, plain as day. Still, having dresses beat having none. She counted, 6 in all, 2 apiece for the 3 of them. Ruyan, Rui, you two pick first. Shen Ruyan shook her head. You two wear them. Trousers are fine for me. These past stretches had been hard, and she'd grown used to a plain life. Besides, with no word of how her parents and elder brother were faring, she truly had no heart for dresses. Lin Rui refused as well, telling Xiao Wanqiu, "I'm not interested. Wear them yourself." Unlike Shen Ruyan, it wasn't her family holding her back. She simply didn't want to take too much from me. Take too much, and things got hard to explain later. The Lin family was a house of 100 years, generation after generation, clean and honorable. They'd fallen on hard times now, but she believed the day would come when her family's wrong was cleared. And more than that, she still had an unfulfilled wish to test into university. She couldn't very well bury herself in this mountain hollow and be a farm wife all her life. Xiao Wanqiu, by contrast, was a rare, sunny sort. She'd already picked up the dresses and was holding them against herself one after another. "If you two don't want them, so be it, I do. Even the ugliest print beats those ragged trousers." She pulled off her shirt and was just about to slip a dress over her head when I walked in with a few boards under my arm. "Eek!" Xiao Wanqiu, in nothing but a camisole, gave a yelp and shot under the quilt. Hearing the sound she made, I asked, concerned, "What's wrong with her?" The kerosene lamp lit only so far, and I was too far off besides. I could make out 3 figures on the little Kong, but couldn't see at all what they had on. "Nothing." Shen Ruyan tucked the quilt around Xiao Wanqiu. "Brother Chun, could you step outside a minute? There's something I'd like to say to you." I leaned the boards across a stool, meaning to fit together a bed. "Hold on, let me get this bed put together first." A few minutes, and it was done. I spread a set of bedding over it, then turned to her. "All right, let's go." Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui exchanged a glance, and at last their hearts settled back where they belonged. It seemed this man had no intention of forcing them to share his bed. We walked out of the cabin one behind the other, and I asked, concerned, "Ruyan, what was it you wanted to say?" She thought a moment. "It's nothing, really. I just wanted to thank you. Brother Chun, you're the first person who hasn't looked down on who we are, who was willing to give us a place to stay. The 3 of us are very grateful to you." I smiled, unbothered. What's there to thank me for? From now on, we're one family, and family doesn't stand on ceremony. At the words, "one family," something tightened in her, and she smiled faintly. "Let's go back in, Brother Chun." "Wait." I called her back. "Ruyan, Pa's asked me to come home tomorrow. Come down the mountain with me. Sit in on our family meeting." She blinked, then nodded. "All right." Back inside, I hung a curtain between my bed and the Kong, so they wouldn't be embarrassed to see me if they got up in the night. Deep in the night, I half heard what sounded like voices outside the door. Ever since drinking the spirit spring water, my hearing had grown 100 times sharper than before. If I cared to listen, I could catch a bird's cry 10 li off. Too lazy to get up, I simply sent my awareness into the space to check the mountain model. Behind a big tree about 10 meters from the door, hidden, were Lu Dazhuang and Li Guden. In my last life, these two had been the village's good-for-nothing punks, the kind everyone found tiresome, the kind even the dogs turned up their noses at. Trading on their fathers being the village head and the accountant, the pair swaggered around as if they owned the place. Wherever there was mischief afoot, you could count on the 2 of them being in the thick of it. They'd been crouched behind the tree a good while, and the cabin sat black and silent, not a sound from it. "Danner, you figure Qin Shanlin taking 3 wives all at once. Can he even keep up with all of them?" Li Guden gave a snickering laugh. "No way he can keep up. Didn't you see they all turned in early?" They mocked away for a bit. Then Lu Dazhuang pulled 2 bricks from his pockets and handed one to Li Guden. "Danner, dare to bet me who's the better shot? Loser sneaks 3 eggs from home for the winner. You in. What's there to be scared of?" Li Guden asked eagerly. Just say where we're aiming. Those 3 eggs of yours are as good as in my belly tomorrow. Lu Dazhuang pointed at the chimney on the cabin roof. See that? We aim right down that chimney pipe. Chucking bricks and tiles down other folks' chimneys was something these two had done plenty of times. Old hands at it by now. I watched with my own eyes as the pair snuck out from behind the tree and crept on tiptoe toward our little cabin. The leopard was crouched on the roof just then, waiting on my command. On the model, I shifted it from the roof down into the yard. The instant I did, it dropped down with a whoosh and sat, prim and proper, in the yard, keeping its eyes fixed on the 2 figures skulking outside the fence. Lu Dazhuang and Li Guden were still all worked up over those 3 eggs. Then they looked up, straight into a pair of eyes glowing green. Oh, my mother, what in the world is that thing? Li Guden yelped and instinctively ducked behind Lu Dazhuang. Lu Dazhuang lost his nerve a little too. He was somewhat nearsighted, and from a distance those 2 green things looked to him like a pair of night-glowing pearls. As he stared, the 2 pearls blinked twice. Oh my, it moved. Li Guden let out a howl and bolted. Ah, hell, wait for me. Lu Dazhuang forgot the brick in his hand entirely and tore off after him. The 2 of them went screaming down the mountain, taking who knows how many spills along the way. Li Guden skinned both his kneecaps raw. Neither of them had any real hunting experience, but those 2 green things, you could tell at a glance they were the eyes of some big, fierce beast. Hey, Danner, what do you figure that thing was? Why were its eyes so green, glow in the dark green? Lu Dazhuang panted. Li Guden tugged at his crotch. He'd run so hard, just now he couldn't tell whether it was sweat or a little leak. Either way, his trousers were plastered to his legs. Tugging as he went, he guessed, could it have been a wildcat? Doesn't look like it. A wildcat's not that big. Once they'd caught their breath, they started home together. Lu Dazhuang slapped his thigh. Danner, you think that green thing might do Qin Shanlin and his lot in during the night? Li Guden thought about it and grinned slyly. Could be. Tell you what, tomorrow after it's light out, let's sneak back up the mountain and take a look. Deal. The 2 punks struck their bargain and each went home. A few days back, when their 2 families had lost their spring water, the chore of hauling water had fallen on these 2, since they were the idlest in either household. Pampered as they were, after a few days of carrying water, Lu Dazhuang and Li Guden were cursing up a storm. Putting their heads together, the pair kept feeling there was something unnatural about that spring drying up, and they laid the whole account at the Qin family's door. Otherwise, why would a spring that had run for decades stop precisely while the Qin family was keeping the mountain? On my end, seeing Lu Dazhuang and Li Guden scared off, I hooked the corner of my mouth in satisfaction. I reached out, grabbed a pheasant from the woods, and tossed it up onto the roof. At the sight of live prey, the leopard's eyes blazed with excitement. One bite to the throat, and it leapt down off the roof and vanished into the night. Early the next morning, Shen Ruyan made big hominy porridge for breakfast. With yesterday's meat not yet finished, the 4 of us ate our fill. I saw that only Xiao Wanqiu had put on a new dress. I asked Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui, neither of you is wearing a new dress. Is it that you don't like them? The clothes in our little northeastern town were no match for a big city like the capital. They surely weren't as stylish. I thought a moment and added, if you don't like them, it's fine. When I've got time, I'll take you into the city, and you can pick whatever styles you like. My words caught the 3 of them off guard. Ever since coming to Kaoshan village, they'd carried the odd feeling that they'd been sold off into some mountain hollow. Wasn't this Qin Shanlin afraid they'd run? Lin Rui was the most level-headed and coolly rational of the 3. She tried to read my mind and judged me a clever man, not the sort of dim country fellow at all. In the end, she reached a conclusion. Right now, the controls on every village and town were extremely tight. Even if they ran, they'd never get far. Likely they'd be carried off by wild beasts before they even got down the mountain, or lose their way and starve on it. In short, Lin Rui's impression of me was still somewhere below 0. Otherwise, when other men married one wife, on what grounds had this one married all 3 of them? There's no need, Brother Chun. Shen Ruyan smoothed the wrinkles in her clothes and said gently, earning money can't be easy for you. And just yesterday you bought us so much to eat and wear. That's already plenty. Come, let's head down the mountain. Ruyan, where are you 2 going? Xiao Wanqiu, in her floral dress, looked puzzled. Shinruyan glanced at me and said nothing. She couldn't quite bring herself to say the words, going home. I smiled. Down the mountain to look in on the family. You two coming? Xiao Wanxiu shot a look at Lin Rui, saw her frown, then forced a smile. Then Rui and I will stay behind. Come back early, you two. These past days they'd found that the mountain was a kind of natural barrier for them, one that shut out all the cold looks and sneers down below. So if they could keep from going down, they'd rather not. Let's go. Shinruyan and I set off down the mountain, one ahead, one behind. A light rain had fallen at dawn, and the winding mountain path was muddy. Shinruyan followed carefully behind me, quickening her steps as much as she could to keep up. Between the two of us, there always stayed a gap of about a meter. Then, all at once, a 2-finger-thick pit viper darted out of the brush and landed square across the path between us. What Northeasterners call a takuzi, its proper name the Ushuri pit viper, small in build but venomous. Ah! At the sight of the snake, Shinruyan nearly jumped out of her skin. Her calf seized and she sat straight down on the ground. The snake had only been passing through, but startled by her scream it thrashed about wildly and, aiming for her calf, sank in a bite. By the time I turned around, the takuzi had already slithered out of sight. Overcome with fright, Shinruyan fainted dead away. Ruyan, I pushed up her trouser leg and saw the fang marks where the snake had bitten. I'd grown up playing on this mountain. One look and I knew a takuzi's bite. The wound had already gone purple-black, though she'd only just been bitten, plain proof of how strong this viper's venom was. I strongly suspected Shinruyan hadn't fainted from fright, but from the poison. Our village clinic kept a medicine made just for drawing out snake venom, but that medicine had a time limit. Within 5 minutes you had to mix the powder into a paste, have the patient swallow half, and pack the other half on the wound. I patted my pockets, empty. I was vexed at myself. A few days back, when I'd gone to the village gate to collect the 3 of them, I'd changed into new clothes. How had I forgotten to bring the medicine? 2 minutes passed, and Shinruyan's lips were beginning to turn purple. Then it came to me. I scooped half a bowl of spirit spring water from the space, hoping it might have some power to counter the poison. Gulp after gulp, I got most of the water down her, and the last little bit at the bottom I poured over the wound. Before long, Shinruyan slowly opened her eyes. The thought of the snake that had bitten her sent her, in tears, throwing herself into my arms. Brother Chun, a snake bit me. Shinruyan really was terrified, trembling all over. Even huddled against me, she felt as if snakes were all around her. The moment she'd been bitten was still fresh in her mind. If her legs hadn't gone weak, she'd have wanted nothing more than to get away from here fast. It's all right, Rian. Don't be afraid, the snake's gone. I patted her back, soothing her. I'd just lifted her from the ground when her legs buckled and she started sinking down again. There was no way she was walking down the mountain like this. I'd have to get her back to the cabin first. She kept a wary eye on the ground the whole time, so scared she didn't dare take a single step forward. She'd grown up in the city. How could she ever have known the terrors of a mountain like this? She clung tight to my sleeve. Can you walk? I asked, concerned. She'd recovered her wits a good deal by now, no longer as undone as before. She said, embarrassed, my legs are weak. Looking at the dense brush on either side of the path, she felt as though a snake hung from every tree. So tense, she couldn't move a step. There was nothing for it. I scooped her up sideways. It's fine. If you can't walk, I'll carry you. With her legs off the ground, her sense of safety came flooding back, and she went a little shy. Thank you, Brother Chun. Don't mention it. If you hadn't been coming home with me, you wouldn't have been bitten at all. Carrying her, I set off toward the cabin with a light step. From a good distance off, Lin Rui and Xiao Wanxiu saw us turning back and were startled, especially at the sight of me carrying Shinruyan. The 2 of them hurried out, anxious. Rian, what happened to you? The 3 of them were close in age, had grown up together, and had weathered months of hardship as one. Naturally, their bond ran deep. And since Shinruyan was the one the other 2 leaned on, the 2 of them were especially frightened. I'm all right. Being carried the whole way had steadied Shinruyan, and she'd come around considerably. I set her down on the Kong inside and told them plainly. Rian was bitten by a takuzi just now. To keep the other 2 from worrying, I quickly added, I've already treated her. She's fine now. Lin Rui and Xiao Wanxiu looked baffled, exchanged a glance, and asked together, "What's a takizi?" Worried they'd take fright, I put on an easy manner. "It's a kind of snake. A little venomous, but not deadly. I've already treated Rian." I didn't dare describe how she'd looked just now. If I had, these women likely wouldn't have dared step out of the room again. As I spoke, I pushed up Shinrian's trouser leg to check. The wound had already gone back to a normal color. I truly hadn't expected the spirit spring in the space to counter venom too. It was astonishing. "Huh? A snake?" At the word, Xia Wanxiu quickly clutched her dress tight, then scrambled up onto the Kong, wanting to change into trousers. But seeing me there, she stopped her hand before pulling the dress off. Needless to say, she was already too scared to leave the room. Lin Rui, hearing snake, came over at once to look, and when she saw the wound was neither purple nor bruised, she felt somewhat easier. Seeing all three of them looking pale, I comforted them. "You don't need to be afraid. There's medicine powder scattered around the cabin. Ordinary small animals won't dare come near. You can move about the yard as freely as you like. Just don't wander too far." "All right, we understand. Brother Chun, you go on down the mountain. Isn't there something waiting at home?" Shinruyan said thoughtfully. I nodded. "It's near noon. There's food and vegetables. Make whatever you like to eat. I probably won't be back till supper." The three of them nodded and saw me off. Ever since drinking the spirit spring water, swift as the wind, didn't even cover my speed. I was faster than the lightness skills in a martial arts novel. The trip down usually took half an hour. Without Shinrian to keep pace with, I reached the village gate in 5 minutes, face unflushed and breath easy, as if I'd only taken a sip of water. If I hadn't been worried the villagers would see me sprinting, I'd have run straight to the front door. I hummed a little tune the whole way home. My parents and my brother and his wife were already waiting in the yard. Seeing the third son come home near noon, and alone at that, my father was displeased. "Why so late? And you came back by yourself?" His main objection, before, to my marrying a capitalist young lady had been the fear that she'd be too educated to settle into an honest, steady life with his son. And now, only a few days into that life, she wouldn't even come down for a family meeting. Even if all three couldn't come, one of them coming would have been something. I waved a hand. "Don't get me started. Pa Rian was going to come down with me, but halfway there she got bitten by a tee. She was so shaken her legs went weak, so I took her back." Hearing his daughter-in-law had been bitten by a takuzi, my father asked at once, "What color of takuzi? Did you treat the girl?" Realizing he'd misjudged her, he quickly called to my mother. "Old woman, get inside and pack up plenty of that snake powder I ground a few days ago for our son. Split it into 4 portions. Have Shanlin take it back, 1 packet each." A takuzi bite was no laughing matter. Handled badly, it could easily kill. He added, "Living up on that mountain, you've got to watch for this kind of thing, especially with the 3 of them being city girls." I nodded. "I know, Pa. I didn't mention that I hadn't had the anti-venom on me. Only said, don't worry. I treated her, and she's fine now." "Good, as long as she's all right." My father looked around, and seeing people in the yards on either side, he called to the rest of the family. "Come, today's family meeting, let's hold it inside." My brother Chindashu and I traded a smile and teased the old man. "What's this all about? So hush-hush." We all went in, and my mother even shut the door behind us. That only made me more curious about what my parents were up to. Everyone found a seat. My father cleared his throat. "I've called you 2 brothers together today to talk something over." Chindashu, the eldest, who poured his whole heart into the family, said, "Pa, just say it." My father gathered his words. "I'm over 50 now, and I can see the forest warden work getting to be more than I can handle. Your ma and I have talked it over. I want to put in for early retirement, and once I step down, someone in the family needs to take over the post," was even out of his mouth. Chindashu slapped his thigh. "Pa, that warden's job can't just go to waste. The 5th boy's still young, still in school. Let our 3rd brother take it up. It works out well, seeing as he can't come down off the mountain right now anyhow." My father nodded, not the least surprised by his eldest son's words. They say the eldest son is like a second father. His read on this eldest boy was that even if one day he himself were no longer in this world, his eldest son would look after his younger brothers and sisters. He glanced at his eldest daughter-in-law and asked, "Chunhong, what do you say?" Li Chunhong had never wanted to go up the mountain anyway. She liked being with her own man, doing farm work. The mountain was damp, thick with mosquitoes and gnats, and now and then you had to worry whether a tizzy might be waiting in the pit when you went to the outhouse. She said quickly, "I've got no objection, Pa." What Dashu said is just what I was going to say. Third brother's only just married. He's got a wife to keep. Let him take over the post. My father nodded again and looked at me. Third boy, then let's settle it. You'll take over. As long as the forest warden work stayed in the family, going up to gather mushrooms or dig herbs would stay convenient too. I'd never before thought of taking over my father's post, but now that I had the mountain god space, pairing it with the warden's work was flat out perfect. So I didn't stand on ceremony and agreed. All right, Pa. From now on, I'll hand half my wages to the family to help keep the household and pay for my brothers and sisters' schooling. I'd wanted to say I'd hand over the whole wage, but I was afraid the family would think I was boasting. And besides, in everyone's eyes, I still had 3 wives up the mountain to support. My father brought his hand down. Good, it's settled. I'll make a few trips into town these next days and see to it. He thought a moment and cautioned me. Third boy, keep a closer eye on things up the mountain these days. The leader who came to inspect our village hasn't left yet, and I don't know what he's after. Strange, really, these past couple of days. In the past, that leader, a fellow named Lou, would head back to town the same day he came to inspect. This time, some ill wind had blown in, and he'd stayed 2 nights and still wouldn't go. None of that interested me in the slightest. I took the medicine powder from my mother's hands and just wanted to get back to the cabin sooner. Shinrian had been bitten by a titty. For all I knew, the 3 of them were sitting on the Kong right now, too scared to step outside. Pa, Ma, I won't be eating supper here. I'm heading back. I'm a little uneasy about the 3 of them. That food I brought back last time, don't be sparing with it. In a few days, when things settle, I'll go dig more wild ginseng, sell it, and put better food on the family's table. Having said my piece, I turned and went out the door and ran straight into Li Fugue, hurrying up. Aya, nephew, you're finally back. Come, come, your uncle's got something to tell you. Li Fugue pulled me aside and lowered his voice. Nephew, how are things going for you all up the mountain? Just fine. What? There was something furtive about Li Fugue. I always felt he was up to no good. In my last life, Li Fugue had stayed village head straight through, and later, when times improved and the economy opened up, he'd raked in a lot of money. Then, leaning on the Li family's clout, took to running monopolies. His 2 sons, and himself, all 3 went in. Before I was reborn and came back, they were still locked up. Word was they'd drawn life sentences. Nephew, let me tell you, those 3 wives of yours, the leaders upstairs seemed to set a lot of store by them. Today he even asked why that Shin girl hadn't come to the brigade office, and said he absolutely must see all 3 of them tomorrow. Li Fugue looked me over and tested the waters. Well then, how about you bring them down for a bit tomorrow? Those 3 capitalist young ladies were like scalding hot yams to him, a genuine headache. Not letting the leader see them, he feared the leader would blame him and make life hard. Having me bring them down, he feared I'd take it badly and send them back to the village. Caught square between 2 bad choices. But Li Fugue hadn't expected me to agree so readily, saying I'd bring Shinrian and the other 2 down the mountain tomorrow. That set his mind at ease. Ma, I'm off. I hadn't gone back inside. I just turned to leave. Hold on. My mother called me back and carried out another string bag of eggs from the kitchen, holding it out. Take this back and let the girls build up their strength. Next time they come home, don't let them be so thin. To my mother, it made no difference, capitalist or not. Everyone was human, 1 head on 2 shoulders. So they'd made some mistakes, correct them, and that was that. Was that any reason to shut people in a cowshed and give them a sour face day after day? What's more, they were her daughters-in-law now. She had all the more reason to be good to them. Only if she, the mother-in-law, treated her daughters-in-law well would they treat her son well. Ma, I won't take these eggs. My brother and his wife just gave me a batch yesterday, and we haven't finished them. Save this bag for Xiao Bauer. Xiao Bauer was my niece, my brother and sister-in-law's daughter. No, you must take these eggs. I've already set Xiao Bauer's aside. There's plenty of eggs in the house, and there's a lot of you. Yesterday's bag won't last many days. Just then Li Chunhong came out and put in her word too. Shanlin, if Ma tells you to take them, take them. Xiao Bauer's are already set aside. With my sister-in-law saying so, I didn't refuse again and took the eggs. I had eggs to spare in my space anyway. At worst, I'd send home more in a few days. On the way back to the cabin, I turned over why that leader was so set on seeing Shunrian and the other two. 1. Knowing their families had been wrongly accused, he meant to curry favor. 2. He meant to loot a house already on fire. Beyond those two, I couldn't think of another reason. A town leader had at least seen a bit of the world. His standard for a spouse wasn't the same as the burly men in the village. He'd care more about whether his partner had learning. Whatever the case, I decided to go tomorrow and size him up. Back at the cabin, it wasn't yet time to make supper, and just as I'd figured, the three of them really were sitting on the Kong, not having set foot on the ground. Shenruyan especially kept glancing at the floor and the corners, watching for any snake. Seeing me come in, Xiao Wanxiu lit up with delight. "Brother Chen, you're back." Somehow, whenever I was in the room, she felt especially safe. Otherwise, she was on edge, always feeling some beast might come charging in. "I'm back." I hurried there and back, since I was afraid you'd be scared. I set the eggs on the table and told them, "Starting today, the three of you are each to eat 2 eggs a day. Let's get you healthy sooner." Speaking of eggs, I remembered that when they'd first come up the mountain, my mother had made a point of giving them a laying hen. Odd I hadn't seen it these past couple of days. I stepped out of the cabin and found the coop empty. "Ruyan, where'd the laying hen Ma gave us go?" The three women looked at one another, thought hard for a long while, and finally remembered. Yesterday they'd found the hen listless with hunger, let it out to eat, and forgotten to bring it back. Shenruyan was a little embarrassed. "Brother Chen, why don't we split up and look, see if the hen's still somewhere nearby?" No need to look. I hooked the corner of my mouth, caught between laughing and crying. I'd remembered. No wonder the chicken I'd tossed the leopard yesterday had looked so familiar. It was our own. The hen couldn't be found, and the three of them, Shenruyan, Xiao Wanxiu, and Lin Rui, felt quite guilty. After all, it was the only hen we had, and they'd been counting on it for eggs going forward. Afraid they'd dwell on it, I reassured them. "It's fine, just one hen. Next time we hatch chicks, we'll just hatch a few extra." I said it lightly, but Shenruyan knew I was comforting them. She knew that in the countryside a chicken was precious. The whole family had only 3. Supper was mine to make. I got a wild rabbit off the mountain, and behind the cabin, in the vegetable patch my father had planted, I dug up a few potatoes. I stewed a big pot of potatoes braised with meat, and Xiao Wanxiu was so delighted by the smell, she couldn't find her bearings. After the meal, I handed out the medicine powder I'd brought from home, a packet to each of them, and taught them how to use it should they meet a Tikizi. The three of them listened closely. No one, after all, wanted to lose her life on this mountain. Before sleep, I told them I'd be going down the mountain tomorrow. An inspection was coming. The 3 women nodded and agreed, saying they'd get up early. After the lamp was out, I lay on my board bed and set to organizing the space. The black earth was all laid out neatly now, and every seed that should be planted was in the ground. With 1 tap digging and 1 tap watering and fertilizing and the like, farming was easy for me, no effort at all. In under an hour I'd planted several mu of land. And behind the mountain model, I'd discovered a pond. It seemed that when I had time these next days, I'd have to get hold of some fish fry. Early the next morning, breakfast done, the 4 of us went down. Because of the previous day's snakebite, Xiao Wanxiu no longer dared wear a dress. The 3 of them cinched their trouser legs tight. Shenruyan was so on edge that the slightest rustle terrified her. Even a leaf falling on her felt like a snake climbing a board. Caught between laughing and crying, I had her walk in front of me, so that even if a snake really did come out, I'd spot it first and keep her safe. With 3 women along, I couldn't stride swift as the wind as I had the day before. After about 40 minutes, the 4 of us finally reached the gate of the brigade office yard. Li Fugawei was inside, bowing and scraping as he reported to the leader. Seeing us come in, he looked as if he'd spotted his salvation. He pulled me over to the leader and said with an ingratiating smile, "Committeeman Liu, this is the young Chun I told you about." Seeing the leader's stern face, he tugged my arm. "Nephew, this is the leader who came from town to inspect, Committeeman Liu." I didn't say a word of greeting, didn't so much as glance at this Committeeman Liu, because I knew that whether or not I opened my mouth to flatter him, this Liu would have it in for me later. This Committeeman Liu was named Liu Chong, the town's organization committeeman, in charge of personnel for the surrounding villages. I remembered hearing in the village, in my last life, that this Lu Chang had taken a fancy to Shun Ruyan, and that she'd refused him. Afterward, Lu Chang used the convenience of his post to make life hard for the three of them, over and over, tightening the noose on their survival. So it was also this Lu Chang who indirectly caused the deaths of Lin Rui and Xiao Wanqiu. I kept my face flat and told Li Fugui, "I've brought them. All present, arms and legs intact. Inspection over? If it's over, I'm taking them and going." Hearing I meant to take them away, Lu Chang quickly asked Li Fugui, "How is it he took in all three of these women?" A few days back, eager to shove the three capitalist young ladies out of his hands, Li Fugui, when reporting upward, hadn't said I'd brought all three home, only that I'd taken Shen Ruyan alone. But Li Fugui was the village head, after all, quick on his feet, and he said at once, "No, no, the other two are only lodging with the Chun family for the time being." Lu Chang nodded and pressed no further. His target, after all, was Shen Ruyan. Whether the other two lived or died was nothing to him. "Young Shun, come inside with me a moment. There's a letter that came from the capital. I'll hand it to you." Hearing there was a letter from home, Shen Ruyan didn't think twice and followed Lu Chang into the brigade office. Lin Rui and Xiao Wanqiu, hearing there was a letter, assumed there might be ones for them too and made to follow Shen Ruyan in, but Lu Chang blocked them at the door. "There's no letter for you too. Don't come in. And I've got important matters to discuss with young Shun." Lin Rui and Xiao Wanqiu exchanged a glance, feeling something was off. These months of the sent-down life had taught them no small skill at protecting themselves. Hearing what Lu Chang said, I felt something was off too, and I went to stand at the brigade office door. Lu Chang shot Li Fugui a look, wanting him to get me and the others out of the way. But Li Fugui only grinned foolishly and didn't move us along. Lu Chang said nothing more and called Shen Ruyan inside. Li Fugui thought to himself, "You bald wretch Lu. Who'd have guessed a piddling little personnel official would come all the way out to their village to chase women?" Openly, Li Fugui didn't dare offend Lu Chang, but playing dumb, that he could do. He also feared Lu Chang's baser nature might get the better of him. If the man tried anything right there in the brigade office, word would get out and he, as village head, would lose face. Inside, Lu Chang dropped his stern manner and turned all smiles on Shen Ruyan, fussing over her with questions. Was she tired? Was she hungry? Was she settling in all right here? Bewildered, she asked, "Committeeman Lu, could you first let me see the letter from home?" She truly didn't want to say more than she had to. A rank above crushes you, and she was a person carrying a black mark. She was afraid that one wrong word might get her sent down to some even more remote mountain village. These 3 months, after all, they'd already changed villages 3 times. The first time was because Lin Rui had offended the village head. The second was because she and Xiao Wanqiu had fallen ill, and the village head, thinking they'd caught something contagious, took fright and filed a report that very night to have them sent away. The 3 of them had drifted at last to Kaoshan village and truly didn't want to be tossed about anymore. That was also why they'd accepted my taking them away. Hearing she was anxious to see the letter, Lu Chang bared his big yellow teeth. "No rush, no rush." With that, he turned and went into the inner room, calling from inside, "Young Shun, come in a moment. I'll give you the letter." Shen Ruyan looked toward the door, her eyes meeting mine. I jerked my chin at her, meaning, "Call out if anything happens, and I'll come charging in." She nodded and walked toward the inner room, but she still didn't dare go in, stopping at the doorway instead. Lu Chang gave a slight smile. "Young Shun, wouldn't you like to get back to the city sooner?" She nodded. A sly grin spread across his face. "Easy enough. Just come back to town with me, and I can take care of your family's troubles for you. How about it? Give it some thought." Hearing Lu Chang say he could take care of her family's troubles, Shen Ruyan let a look of pure disdain cross her face. Her family in the capital had, in years past, been powerful enough to blot out the sky with one hand. They'd fallen on hard times now, but she knew it was only temporary. One day, surely, the wrong done them would be washed clean. And here Lu Chang was, saying he could help her family. It was laughable. A village in town cadre past 50, who'd likely never so much as set foot in the city or seen anything of the wider world. What power could he possibly have to solve her problems? Lusting after her body was more like it. There's no need, Committeeman Liu. I find life in the countryside quite good, and I have a man now. I mean to settle down here in Kaoshan village. Shenrian quietly took a step back, ready to bolt at any moment. She even suspected he had no letter from home at all, that he'd said it only to lure her into the inner room. Her words made Lu Chang's face go stiff. Young Shun, don't bite the hand that feeds you. A chance to live in town. You'll only get it this once. He pressed on. I'll warn you, a family like yours will never claw its way back up. Not in this lifetime. If you come with me, I can get you a new identity, find you a job. From then on you'd be an ordinary person, free of the capitalist label. Well, that's sincere enough, isn't it? He wore a look of smug triumph. To his mind, the country bumpkins of Kaoshan village couldn't compete with him in the slightest. He figured that once he laid out such superior terms, Shenrian was sure to agree. A girl from the city couldn't possibly bear a life bent over the black earth, back to the sun. But he'd overestimated himself and underestimated her. She refused again. I said there's no need. And I'll trouble you, Committeeman Liu, to give me my family's letter. I have to get back and make lunch for my man. You. He jabbed a finger at her. You don't know what's good for you, you realize that? What's so fine about that Chin fellow? That 3 days is all it took to make you so devoted? A green boy? You can't tell me he's better in bed than a mature man like me? Every last word he said, I heard clearly from start to finish. This old lecher actually dared to question my capabilities. I couldn't stand to listen any longer. I strode into the room, walked to Shenrian's side, and took her hand. Committeeman Liu, is it? I fixed him with a look of contempt. If I'm not mistaken, your wife at home is the town head's sister-in-law, isn't she? The rest I left unsaid. Because the town head's wife and her sister were famous across the whole town, famously fierce. As for how I knew, in a few more years the current town head would get caught keeping a mistress and have his manhood cut off by that very wife of his. At the mention of his own household she-devil, Lu Chang's reason came flooding back all at once. Reluctantly, he took an envelope from his briefcase and set it on the table. I hooked the corner of my mouth and said to Shenrian, Wife, aren't you going to thank Committeeman Liu for coming all this way to bring you your letter? She caught my meaning at once, picked up the envelope, and said, Thank you, Committeeman Liu. With that, the two of us walked out hand in hand. Furious, Lu Chang pounded the earthen wall hard and swore that even if he couldn't have Shenrian, he'd never let that Chen boy have an easy life of it. If you're wondering why I wasn't afraid of Lu Chang, it was because my fifth brother would one day become the town head. Only, in my last life, my fifth brother had held that post a single year before dying in an accident, gone before he was 30, leaving behind 3 pitiful souls, a wife and daughters. In this life, I would never let that accident happen again. Outside the brigade office, Lin Rui and Xia Wanqiu saw Shenrian and me hand in hand and were a little surprised, though they didn't let it show on their faces. The two of them hurried to ask, Rian, that old man didn't give you any trouble, did he? Shenrian shook her head. It's fine, don't worry. Brother Chen got me out of it just now. Lin Rui glanced at me. The 3 of them had waited outside the door and couldn't hear a thing, so she and Xiao Wanqiu had no idea what had happened inside. They'd been worrying when they saw me suddenly rush in and bring Shenrian back out. She had to admit that, as a man, I had some backbone. I knew how to shield them. Shenrian's little hand was soft and very cold. I held it a while, and just as I'd warmed it up, the small hand started wanting to shrink back. So I let go and told the 3 of them, It's near noon. Let's go home and eat. I said my goodbyes to Li Fugui, and the 4 of us walked out of the brigade office. Lu Chang, meanwhile, came out of the room with a black face and got straight into his car back to town. This wretched village, every extra minute here rankled. He nursed his grudge, cursing my ancestors back 18 generations. The 4 of us headed back. Shenrian clutched the letter, heart racing. After several months, at last she could learn news of her parents. If I hadn't been there, she might well have torn it open on the road. She'd assumed I'd take them back up the mountain, but instead we returned to my parents' home. The moment we stepped into the yard, I called out, Pa, Ma, big brother, sister-in-law, look who's here. My mother was feeding the pigs just then. She came around from the backyard with a water dipper still in her hand. Oh, it's my daughter-in-law. Come in, come in. My sister-in-law Li Chunhong came out of the house holding the child, even warmer than my mother. The younger sisters are back. Come in, come in. I'll go cut you some watermelon. With that, she set her daughter down and headed for the root cellar. In the northeastern countryside, most households dig a root cellar, good for storing melons, fruit, and vegetables. After the autumn cabbage and radish harvest, they'll keep a whole winter without rotting. I lifted my niece up in front of the three of them and coached the little one. Xiao Bauer, be good, call them auntie. Xiao Bauer stared at the three pretty aunties for a good while, unsure which one her third uncle wanted her to call auntie. Then the little one had a bright idea and simply called each auntie auntie in turn. Before Shenrian and the others could react, I was thrilled beyond words. Those three little aunties from my niece set my heart blooming. When Li Chunhong came out with the watermelon, she had a cleaver clamped in her teeth. The sight was so formidable that Shenrian and the other two hastily stood up to clear space for her to cut it. No sooner was the watermelon sliced than my mother brought out half a basin of apricots and little cherries. Here, have some fruit. Don't stand on ceremony. It's all grown at home. The more my mother looked at her daughters-in-law now, the more she liked them. With them coming through the door, her third son seemed to have grown up overnight, learning to shoulder the burden of supporting a family. Seeing the coarse cotton clothes on the three of them, washed pale with age, she went back inside and brought out a soft tape measure. Come, let ma take your measurements. Tomorrow I'll go make you some new clothes. My mother was so warm that although Shenrian and the others were stiff and awkward at first, they gradually loosened up a great deal. But compared to the reserve of Shenrian and Lin Rui, Xiao Wanxiu had the liveliest disposition and the least guile, chattering away around my mother. She didn't overthink things. Her whole life, she'd been the same. Good to whoever was good to her. I hadn't expected the three of them and my mother to get along so harmoniously so fast. I took a stroll through the little vegetable patch out back, but didn't see my father or my brother, so I asked my mother, Ma, where are Pa and my brother? Chatting with the daughters-in-law, she said, those two went to East Big River to catch fish for the brigade. Then I'll go take a look. With that, I turned to head out. She called after me. Tell your Pa to get a few more sandao lin. There's a lot of us eating tonight. Too few won't be enough. I answered and set off toward East Big River. 2 li east of our village ran a big river. Every half-month the brigade would organize some of the village's able-bodied men with fishing experience to go down and cast nets. Each man was given a few caddies of fish as his wages, and the rest were sold to the villagers at market price. My step was light, and in a few minutes I reached East Big River. Plenty of villagers stood on the bank watching the excitement, all waiting to line up and pick out the biggest, freshest fish once they came ashore. My father and my brother, with an arm's worth of strength apiece, were the mainstays of the fishing crew. When I arrived, I saw my father standing on a big rock at the water's edge, gripping the net in both hands and casting it into the river with practiced ease. I didn't go up to disturb him. Instead, I stared for a long while at the basket of the smallest fish on the bank. If I remembered right, the little fish in there had been hauled up by mistake and would be released back into the river shortly. Chen Dashu, in tall wading boots, stood in the river hauling the net toward shore, the water just above his waist. Seeing his younger brother had come, he waved happily. Third brother, what brings you here? I took a few steps forward. I brought Ruyan and the other two home to eat. Ma said you and Pa came to catch fish, so I came to have a look. As it happened, the fish pond in my space was still empty. Coming to East Big River, I also wanted to see whether I could get some fish fry to take back. Having said that, I sidled up beside the bucket of little fish again. There were too many prying eyes on the bank. I couldn't send them into the space, so I'd have to wait for a chance. Not until the last net was ashore, when everyone came to pick fish off it together, was I the only one near the little fish bucket. My father called to me, Third boy, dump that bucket of fingerlings by your feet back into the river. Let them grow some more. Their net shouldn't have caught small fish at all. Today, someone had grabbed the wrong net, a fine mesh one instead of the coarse, which was why they'd scooped up the fry. That line was exactly what I'd been waiting for. I answered, picked up the bucket, and walked off to a stretch of riverbank farther away. Because it was the last net, everyone's attention was on the fish. Hardly anyone spared me a glance. With my back to the crowd, my hands went through the motions of pouring water, but in truth I used my mind to gather all the fry into the space and empty them into my own pond. By the time I'd finished and come back, the crowd had already started lining up to weigh and buy fish. Up here in the Northeast, the big river fish came down to just a few kinds. Today's haul was all big carp. The sandalin my mother had mentioned was a kind of carp too, because it had few scales, running like 3 lines down its body. It was called sandalin, 3-stripe. Carp all the same, but everyone knew the sandalin's flesh was more tender than ordinary carp. So those who'd lined up early were mostly there to grab the sandalin. As mainstays of the fishing crew, my father and brother naturally had first pick. Having heard his third son had brought the wives home to eat, my father figured the fish they'd been allotted alone wouldn't feed the whole family. So he went to the one weighing fish and had 3 sandalin weighed out first. Together with the 2 allotted to him and my brother, that made 5 fish. He handed them to me. "Third boy, take the fish home and have your ma clean and stew them. Your brother and I will be back in an hour." "Got it." I took the bag of fish and turned to head home. Shindashu called after me. "Third brother, have your sister-in-law pull some water radishes and baby bok choy for eating with dip." Understood. Carrying the fish, I headed home. A few hundred meters out, I heard a commotion break out back at the river. I stretched my attention that way and caught the reason for it. It turned out my father had had a few extra sandalin weighed just now, which put the villagers in line out of sorts, and they'd started grumbling. Shindashu was a rough sort of man. He waved a big hand and argued. "When has my family not bought 1 extra? What are you all sore about?" Lu Dazhuang was in the line too, and he stirred the pot on purpose. 1 extra before was one thing, but now 3 extra? Isn't that too much? And besides, there's only 30-some sandalin all told. Your family carts off 5 at once. You leave the rest of us anything to eat or not. That's how these things go. The moment one person starts, the rest chime in. After all, who doesn't want the more tender, tastier fish? Just then Li Gooden, lined up in another queue, took up the beat too. "That's right, 30 sandalin and your family takes 5. Are the rest of us allowed to buy any?" No sooner had Li Gooden finished than a slap landed on the back of his head. Li Fuguwei glared at his youngest son and barked, "You're into everything. You just can't help yourself, can you?" His youngest was a witless sort, forever used as a catspaw by Accountant Lu's eldest boy. More than once, when there was trouble in the village, Lu Dazhuang had started it and sent Gooden to fire the shot, and in the end the bad name always fell on Li Gooden. Li Fuguwei was at his wits' end with the foolish boy. The dopey look on his face only stoked his temper, and he growled under his breath, "Quit being an eyesore. Go home." Li Gooden looked deeply wronged and pulled a long face. "Pa, but I want to eat sandalin." "Eat my foot, get home." Li Fuguwei planted a kick on his son's backside. "From now on, don't go wandering around out here for no reason." I'd only just brought the 3 capitalist young ladies back. There was every chance, any day, that they might be sent back to the village. At a time like this, never mind a few fish. Even if we'd taken a few chickens, Li Fuguwei wouldn't have said a word. And the other 3 fish had been paid for. Kicked a few times by his old man for no clear reason, Li Gooden couldn't save face and slunk off. Li Fuguwei shot a look at Lu Dazhuang, then turned to the villagers in line and said, "You lot don't need to eye them with envy. Old Chun and his son are men of real skill. With those 2 here, we net several hundred extra caddies of fish every time. Otherwise, you wouldn't get a taste of squat." To tell the truth, my father and Shindashu were a little baffled. Had Li Fuguwei taken the wrong medicine today, actually speaking up for our family? With Li Fuguwei there, no one dared run their mouth further, and Lu Dazhuang didn't dare say anything more either. After all, village head outranked accountant, and he worried about making trouble for his own father. My father and brother, having finished the day's work by now, wanted not 1 extra minute there. They peeled off their waders and headed home. I listened a while longer, then pulled my attention back and went home ahead of them. This Lu Dazhuang was just like his accountant father, the pair of them full of rotten schemes, rotten clean through. I'd have to watch out for them going forward. Back home, I set to cleaning the fish briskly. 5 fish, all dealt with in under half an hour. Shen Ruyan helped ladle water, rinsing the fish once they were scaled and gutted. Xiao Wanxiu, looking at the bloody raw fish, grimaced in fright and wouldn't even come near, afraid the blood would spatter on her. Just then Lin Rui was helping my mother wash vegetables. She couldn't just stand and watch doing nothing either. So, Seeing the faint beads of sweat on my forehead, she had a bright idea and pulled out her handkerchief. Brother Chun, let me wipe your sweat. Sweat wiped, Xiao Wanqiu was out of things to do again. On the stone roller lay the half watermelon left over from earlier, the one my mother had said to save for the 3 men of the house. Xiao Wanqiu walked over, cut a small wedge, and, worried it'd be hard for me to bite, thoughtfully cut it into small cubes and arranged them on a plate. Here, Brother Chen, let me feed you watermelon. This melon is so sweet, so sweet. With 2 women fussing around me, I didn't think much of it, but it split my mother's face with a grin she couldn't wipe off. These girls might be no good at farm work, but they seemed awfully good to her son, attentive to his comfort, even knowing to cut him watermelon. Just fine. Quite satisfied, my mother said to Lin Rui, Rui, this well water was just drawn. It's icy on the hands. Later, when your monthly comes, it'll give you a stomachache. Let me wash. I'm nearly an old woman. I don't mind the cold. Lin Rui started to say it was all right, but my mother snatched the wash basin from her hands, set it on the table, and nudged her over toward me. I'll make supper. I don't need you. You young ones go play in the yard, and keep an eye on your sister-in-law's child for a bit, so she can rest. My mother was a good mother-in-law. In 4 years of my brother's marriage, with the child now 3, she barely let her eldest daughter-in-law do any housework apart from the field labor. Grateful for her kindness, Li Chunhong tied on an apron of her own accord. Ma, there's a lot of us eating tonight. Let me lend a hand. The 2 of us cooking together will be quicker. No need, no need. My mother pushed her eldest daughter-in-law out of the kitchen, urging, if there's no work to do, go rest a while. In the yard, 4 grown-ups and 1 little one were playing merrily, doubled over laughing. My mother lowered her voice. Someone's watching the child for you. Use the chance to go lie down for a nap. Go on, Ma doesn't need you here. Be good, eldest girl. Ever since Li Chunhong came through the Chen family's door, my mother had treated her like her own daughter, sometimes calling her eldest girl outright, because folks in the village had joked that the 2 of them, both broad-shouldered and thick-waisted, really looked like mother and daughter. Li Chunhong wanted to say something more, but my mother pushed her straight into the house. I kept Shenruyan and the others company a while, then went to the little vegetable patch. My brother had said he wanted vegetables for dipping, so I meant to pick some. The moment I stepped into the patch and saw the greens growing lush and glossy across the ground, my mood lifted with them. I crouched at the edge of a bed and pulled up a few little water radishes, only to find they'd grown no bigger than my thumbnail. I entered the space and walked over to my water radish bed there. One look at the leaves on top told me my space's water radishes had grown far better. Sure enough, when I dug one out, I found the radish head had grown as big as an egg. I wiped off the dirt, rinsed it in the pond, and bit down, chewing. Not only crisp with a crunch, but the radish flavor was remarkably true, better than any I'd ever eaten. I picked a basket for my brother, took it to the kitchen, and washed it clean. My mother cooked fast. In under an hour, a whole table of dishes was ready. Of the 5 fish, she stewed 3. The other 2 she simmered into fish soup, made especially to build up the 3 girls. She also stewed wild boar spare ribs and braised pork. While I was washing water radishes in the kitchen, I poured half a small bowl of spirit spring water into the fish stew pot. The instant it hit the pot, the steam bursting off the rim carried an aroma nothing like before, rich and fragrant. Later, while my mother went out to gather scallions, I ladled a dipperful of spirit spring water into the water vat, thinking to improve the family's constitutions. By now it had been a while since I got back, and I couldn't understand why my father and brother still weren't home. I focused my attention and heard a chaotic clamor at Accountant Lu's front gate, as though a lot of people were talking. Our house and Accountant Lu's were separated by only 2 households. I stepped out and reached it in a few strides. Only then did I see it was Accountant Lu needling my father. Old Shun, listen, you're just past 50 and already handing over your job. If someday your son turns unfilial and won't provide for you in your old age, how are you going to live? That afternoon, before going to East Big River to fish, my father had gone to the brigade office to submit his application for early retirement, wanting his 3rd son to take over the post. Accountant Lu had been in the office at the time and had spoken in that snide, needling way. Only, my father couldn't be bothered with him. He submitted it and turned to leave, which galled Accountant Lu, who said my father looked down on him. And so, when my father and brother happened to pass his gate just now, right as Accountant Lou was getting off work, they'd run into each other. Naturally, a man that full of rotten schemes wouldn't let slip the chance to needle the Chin family. That needling did some damage. It lit Chindashu's fuse straight off. Accountant Lou, you're nearly 50 yourself. You can't go leaning on being the village accountant to lord it over our family at every turn, can you? Accountant Lou said, snide as ever. I'm only saying it for your family's good. Your brother, keeping house with 3 women. If he doesn't rely on your family propping him up, can that life hold together? Those 3 capitalist young ladies couldn't lift a thing or carry a thing. In a few more days, the 4 of them were bound to starve. Chindashu was displeased. Whether we can hold it together or not is our business. Even if my pa doesn't work as forest warden, he can still go up the mountain to hunt. Haha. Accountant Lou's laugh was full of contempt. My father was all around skilled at hunting and fishing, true, but he'd been injured last year. Now, on rainy or overcast days, his legs still ached, and there was no way he could go trekking over the mountains hunting for long stretches. Just then Lu Dazhuang finally got to vent the anger from earlier, saying to Chindashu, "What? However big your family talks, is a wild boar going to come burrowing into your yard all by itself? Damn it, Lu Dazhuang. What the hell do you mean by that?" My brother Chindashu had been carrying his waders. Hearing what Lu Dazhuang had just said, he flung them aside and started toward him. Never mind that Lu Dazhuang had big and burly right there in his name. He wasn't actually tall, not even 5'7", a full head shorter than my broad, strapping brother. And though he was heavy, it was all soft fat, no comparison to my brother's slab of corded muscle. Lu Dazhuang backed away step by step, frightened. Chindashu, what are you doing? You want to throw hands, is that it? My brother was an honest, straightforward man, and from boyhood, he'd never been able to stand sly little punks like Lu Dazhuang. He charged up, grabbed him by the collar, and made to hit him. Today I'm going to teach that smart mouth of yours a proper lesson. Don't, Dashu, come on. It's not worth it, not worth it. More and more neighbors crowded around, all chiming in and pressing forward to try to pull the 2 of them apart. But my brother had a tight grip, and 2 or 3 grown lads couldn't pry him loose. Accountant Lou's face went dark. Chindashu, let go of my son. My brother snorted coldly. When your son was cursing me just now, how come you didn't have anything to say? With that, he swung a fist at Lu Dazhuang. Lu Dazhuang felt a rush of wind by his ear and instinctively shut his eyes. Just then someone shouted, "Oh, Ma, what's going on over there? Why are those trees falling?" Everyone looked where the man pointed. Down at the foot of the mountain, trees kept toppling, one after another. My father's face went black on the spot, and he made to charge down toward the mountain's base. Damn it, which son of a bitch is pushing over trees? Pa. I grabbed hold of him. Don't go yet. Wait a moment. He blinked, not knowing what medicine I was selling in my gourd. In just that little span of time, the trees at the foot of the mountain stopped shaking. Li Gooden came running toward us, shouting as he ran. Run. A wild boar's coming down the mountain. Run home, everyone. At the word boar, the crowd took fright and bolted for home. That thing weighed several hundred caddies. One gore from the beast could cost you half your life. A broken arm or leg at best, a slit-open belly at worst, all of it possible. Run, run. The crowd that had been clustered together a moment ago scattered in a flash. Those who lived close all ran home. Those farther off charged into any yard with an open gate, past caring whose it was. Some climbed walls, some scrambled onto roofs, some clambered up onto chicken coops and goose pens. Quite the scene. We 3 Chins were far calmer. My brother still had hold of Lu Dazhuang. Hearing Li Gooden shout about a boar, unable to run, Lu Dazhuang was so scared his legs shook. Right then a full-grown boar, black all over, came charging straight at us. My brother didn't so much as flinch, but, good grief, Lu Dazhuang wet himself. A yellow-brown stream ran down his trouser legs, and he begged, "I was wrong, Brother Dashu. I really was wrong. Let me go, quick. The boar's here." My brother glanced back, saw there really was a boar, and in that lapse of attention let Lu Dazhuang break away and run home. Seeing his son come into the yard, Accountant Lu hurriedly locked the gate. Now only we 3 Chins were left on the road. My father saw the boar's belly was wounded, its guts spilling and roiling out, and he smiled. He said to my brother, Dashu, run home and fetch the hunting rifle. The two of us will finish this beast off and haul it home for meat. Right. My brother answered and ran off home in big strides. Knowing I had no real hunting experience, my father said, Third boy, get off to the side. Paul bagged this boar for you all to eat. Holding back a laugh, I moved aside. Earlier, the moment Lu Dazhuang had said his line, is a wild boar going to come burrowing into your yard all by itself? I'd opened the mountain model and searched the mountain for a boar. On the back slope I'd found one, mauled half to death by a bear. From the look of it, it wouldn't last the night. So I sent that boar down the mountain. That was what had prompted Li Gooden's frantic cry that the boar was coming. But if the boar were killed right now, it would belong to the whole village, and our family wouldn't get much out of it. I looked at the boar barreling toward us and hatched a plan. I sent it to ram Accountant Lu's front gate. And that boar obediently went and rammed the gate. Inside the yard, Accountant Lu and his son had assumed that once the gate was shut they'd be fine. They'd no sooner barred it than the boar came slamming into it. Bang, bang, bang. The pounding was thunderous. A wooden gate faced with a thin sheet of iron couldn't withstand a 300-catty beast hurling itself at it in a frenzy. In a few blows it began to totter, and even the posts on either side started to sway, looking ready to come down any second. Accountant Lu and his son climbed straight up onto the wall and yelled at my father, Old Chun, don't just stand there. Hurry back for the gun. What are you gawking at? In this era, even a wall was only a waist-high earthen thing, not the least bit sturdy. Never mind a 300-catty boar, an ordinary countryman could kick it down. Lu Dazhuang said to his father, Pa, why don't we get up on the roof? This wall's too low. It won't hold against the boar. Get on the roof, my foot. Your ma's still in the house. Accountant Lu turned and saw my brother coming out with the hunting rifle in hand. He shouted at once, loud, Dashu, quick, give your pa the gun. Have him finish the boar off fast. Tonight, when the brigade divides the pork, I'll let your family pick first. Hearing that, my brother, oddly enough, was in no hurry at all. He ambled over and stood in our own gateway to watch the show. After all, it was old Lu's gate the boar was ramming, several houses down from ours. And he wasn't worried the boar would really charge our family. The gun was in his hands, and a boar with its guts hanging out. Even without our father there, he was confident he could kill. My brother's leisurely pace clearly infuriated Accountant Lu, but he didn't dare lose his temper. Our village had other skilled hunters besides the Chin family, but distant water won't put out a nearby fire. None of them were on hand, and going to fetch them now would be far too late. Crash! Just as the boar rammed the gate open, Accountant Lu's wife, Zhao Xia, came out of the house and snapped irritably. What's all this racket about? No sooner had she spoken than she saw the boar had knocked the gate flat and was now careening around their yard. Frightened, she tried to climb the wall like Accountant Lu, but her bucket-thick waist was too broad. She scrabbled forever and couldn't get up, screeching in a panic. Lu, you and the boy, hurry up and pull me up. Accountant Lu lent a hand and had just hauled his wife up when, thud, the earthen wall collapsed. The three of them sat in the dust-choked heap of dirt, coughing and retching. And that boar, as if possessed, actually started ramming their house. The Lu house was half earth, half brick, but even the brick couldn't hold against a boar heaving at it with all its might. Terrified, Accountant Lu begged heaven and earth, bawling out toward the road. Old Chun, hurry, help me kill this boar. Once it's dead, I'll give the whole thing to your family, all right? That line from Accountant Lu was exactly what I'd been waiting for. I bellowed toward the yard. You said it yourself. Don't go regretting it once the boar's dead. I regret what? Just get on with it, quick. It's about to ram my whole house down. Accountant Lu had dragged his wife and son off to a safe distance, terrified the boar would turn and charge the three of them. Hearing the boar meat could go to our family, my brother quickly handed the rifle to our father. My father had just braced the gun when I confirmed things one more time, loud, Come, come, old and young folk all around. Everyone bear witness. Accountant Lu just said it with his own mouth. As long as our family kills the boar, the pig goes to us. In a country place like this, if there's no benefit in it, nobody wants to spend the breath getting mixed up in such matters. But with a benefit to be had, that's another story. Everyone's ready to whittle their head to a point and shove their way in. I went on. Tomorrow when the boar meat sells at the brigade office, it'll be 10 cents cheaper a caddy. Everybody go buy some. At 10 cents cheaper a caddy. The nearby neighbors perked up. That was no small savings. Generally, in this era, game you caught you could eat at home, but you couldn't sell it privately. It all had to be sold to the village first, and the village sold it onward. The selling price was fixed, but if our family took a bit less while keeping the village's profit unchanged, that was fine. Of course, besides selling to the village, you could also take it to the black market in town like I'd done last time. Only there was a risk of getting caught. Hearing they could buy meat tomorrow, everyone called out from their own yards. All right, Shanlin, we'll bear witness for you. Good, I answered and had the boar turn around. Over on his side, my father had just hoisted the gun rest and was about to take aim when the boar suddenly quit ramming Accountant Lou's house, wheeled around, and charged straight out of the yard, bearing down on the three of us. Not good. You two get out of the way. My father dodged to the roadside and quickly took aim, afraid of hitting his two sons. That boar moved fast. It showed no intention of charging us, and seemed instead to have some destination, in a great hurry to get there. I'd meant to stop my father, to save our family a bullet, but on second thought, worried he'd grow suspicious of me, I said nothing and let him fire. Bang! The shot hit the boar square in the belly, and the guts that were already spilling out tumbled out all the more, dragging bloody along the ground. Somehow, the boar ran to our gate and charged straight in, which gave my father and brother a real fright. There were so many people at home. In fact, back when Li Gooden first shouted boar, my mother and Li Chunhong had already gotten Shun Rian and the other two, along with the child, to safety. Right now they were all hiding in the root cellar, with no idea what was happening outside. My brother, with his long stride, ran into the yard right behind the boar. Bent on taking a goring himself before letting it gore his family, he snatched up the big flat spade at the gate and rushed in. That rush stopped him cold. His eyes bulged wide with shock. My father and I came into the yard behind him. The boar that had been careening about wildly a moment ago was already lying in the middle of the yard, dead. This pig was in a hurry to be reborn, huh? My brother joked. He tossed the spade aside and went happily for a knife to bleed the boar. Next door, Accountant Lou pricked up his ears and listened. Quiet already this fast? Was my father's marksmanship really that good? One shot to drop a boar with bristles like a wire brush? Only when my brother's hearty laughter rang out did the neighbors all around know it must be over. So they came out one after another to look, all wanting to know what had happened. Seeing the boar on the ground no longer breathing, pockmarked Wong from across the way said in astonishment, "Well, I'll be, Brother Chun, that boar really did burrow into your yard to die." Hearing voices, everyone came out to watch the excitement. Only then did Accountant Lou's family of three dare poke their heads out from the corner of a wall. When the boar had darted out of his yard just now, he'd been praying in his heart that it would dart into Old Chin's yard and go ram his house. Who'd have thought the boar would die right there in his own? Truly, man's scheming is no match for heaven's. Accountant Lou looked back at his knock-flat gate and the big hole punched in his house, and it sat terribly unevenly with him. He was already tallying the account, deciding it would go on the Chun family's head, that he'd find a chance to fix us good. I looked around the yard and didn't see my mother or sister-in-law and the others. I opened the door and called out, but no one answered. I was wondering where everyone had gone when my mother climbed up out of the root cellar with the daughters-in-law. "Third boy, where's the boar?" I glanced at the three women hiding behind my sister-in-law, smiled, and pointed into the yard. "Dead. My brother's bleeding it right now." Worried Shenrian and the others would be frightened, I had the three of them take Xiao Bauer back inside first. My mother and Li Chunhong went to help. Once it was bled and gutted, everyone lifted the boar onto the scale together with many hands. 350 caddies with the bristles on. Figure about 330 once the hair was scalded off. At the normal market price of 70 cents a caddy, sold to the brigade, it would fetch 60. Since we'd promised the villagers 10 cents cheaper, at 50 cents a caddy this boar could sell for at least around 160 yuan. My father and brother knew the market price like the backs of their hands, and they were grinning so wide their mouths wouldn't close. Seeing things about wrapped up, my mother said, Kid's father, wash your hands and let's eat first. The fish is about to go cold, and the children are hungry. Supper had been set for 5 o'clock, but by now the evening clouds burned red across the whole sky, and it was nearly 7. All right, no more of this. Let's eat. After supper, boil 2 pots of water and we'll scald the bristles off. My father called his 2 sons. Come, lend a hand. The 3 of us will carry it into the shed. Once that was done, the 3 of us rinsed the bloody water from the yard clean and set up the dinner table. Li Chunhong called to her sisters-in-law inside. Rian, Wanxiu, Ru. When she got to Lin Rui, she forgot her last syllable. My mother filled it in, and Rui too. Bring Xiao Bauer out, all of you. Coming. Xiao Wanxiu was the first to answer and pushed the door open. Though the bloodstains on the ground had been washed clean, a bloody smell still hung in the air. Shin Ruyan and Lin Rui caught it too, and the 3 of them wrinkled their noses at the same time. Go wash your hands, quick, dinner's on. My mother and Li Chunhong were busy setting out the dishes. The 3 of them, having washed Xiao Bauer's hands and their own, pitched in to help too. Soon a whole big table of dishes was laid out. Fish and meat both. Worried the 3 of them wouldn't be used to sorghum rice, my mother had specially added half white rice and steamed a blend of the two. When the dip vegetables came to the table, my brother stared at them, transfixed, and asked in surprise, "The water radishes from our garden, how'd they get so big?" At my brother's words, the whole family looked at the water radishes. My mother, closest to them, said, puzzled, "It really is. When did our water radishes get this big? A few days ago they were still thumbnail-sized." As she spoke, she took one out of the vegetable basket, shook off the water, and bit into it. "Oh, Ma, how is the flavor this good?" Hearing that, my brother and his wife each took one too, chewed a few times, and their eyes went wide. "Ma, how'd you grow the water radishes this year? They're so crisp." Seeing them make such a fuss, my father picked one up, half believing. "Let me try. How good could it be?" He bit down and nodded again and again. "Well, I'll say, the flavor really is true. I want one. I want to eat some too." Xiao Bauer grabbed one and sidled up to Li Chunhong. "Mama, peel." Li Chunhong set down her own radish, took her daughter's, and in a few strokes peeled off the pale pink skin. There was a little fruit knife on the table. She used it to cut the round radish into 2 halves and put them in her daughter's little hands. The little one climbed back into her seat and gnawed away at it, hugging it. I took a few and set them in front of the 3 of them. "They're delicious. Give them a try." The 3 looked at one another and shook their heads together. Raw radish was something they'd never eaten. Seeing them shake their heads, I smiled and took one to eat myself. "Don't just sit there, pick up your chopsticks." My mother urged everyone to eat, then said to Shen Rian and the others, "From now on we're all one family, so don't stand on ceremony. Eat when you should. The more I see you eat, the happier I am." They nodded, restrained. Everyone picked up chopsticks and began on the fish and meat. Xiao Wanxiu ate a few bites, then, glancing down, saw the water radish at the edge of her bowl and grew terribly curious what it tasted like. So she quietly picked one up, brought it to her lips, and bit. A sharp, pungent bite flooded her mouth and set her coughing. Cough, cough, cough. Her coughing drew everyone's attention. She stuck out her tongue, embarrassed. "This is way too spicy." She couldn't understand why a 3-year-old could gnaw one so happily. Wasn't she afraid of the heat? She'd thought it was sweet, which was why she'd wanted to try. She spat out the radish skin from her mouth and quickly took a sip of fish soup to cut the burn. Li Chunhong, sitting beside her, instructed, "The skin of the water radish is spicy. If you can't take spice, peel it before eating. Inside it's nice and juicy." Understanding at last, Xiao Wanxiu peeled one, and when she bit down again it truly wasn't as spicy, but she still couldn't accept the flavor and ate it with great difficulty. Li Chunhong laughed, took the radish from her hand, and stuffed a cucumber in instead. "Water radishes have a rank tang. You city folk aren't used to it. Eat cucumber." Xiao Wanxiu said quickly, "Sister-in-law, I already bit that one." She felt awkward giving away something she'd bitten. But Li Chunhong waved a hand, used the fruit knife to trim the bitten part smooth, and said, unbothered, "It's fine. We're all family." Xiao Wanxiu forced out an apologetic smile and gnawed the cucumber in silence, head down. By the time the meal was done, the sky had gone fully dark. Shenrian rose to help her sister-in-law clear the bowls and chopsticks. No need, no need. Rian, don't get your hands into it. Li Chunhong called to me. Third boy, hurry and take your wife home. If it gets late, the mountain path's hard going. Right, right, right. Never mind clearing up, off you go. My mother snatched the vegetable plates out of Shenrian's and Lin Rui's hands and told them to head back first. Seeing they hadn't moved, she turned to me. Third boy, don't clean up, take them home, quick. Holding the boar's offal in my hands, I said, hold on, let me take this over to Grandpa Wong across the way. He promised me that once his litter of pups is a month old, he'll give me a couple to guard the mountain. With that I made to carry the basin off, but my brother Dashu stopped me. I'll take it. You take the younger sisters home first. The pups aren't urgent. If not tomorrow, then the next day, I'll bring them to you. In the pitch dark, having to lead dogs besides, it's rough going. All right then. I smiled faintly and waved to the three of them. Then let's head back first. The four of us walked to the gate, ready to return up the mountain, but Xiao Bauer clung to Shenrian's leg and wouldn't let go. Auntie, play with me. Be good, Xiao Bauer. When your aunties come next time, they'll play with you again, all right? Li Chunhong scooped up her daughter, and seeing the little one's stray locks all braided into tiny plaits, she knew the girl hadn't had her fill of play that afternoon. Okay then. Xiao Bauer hugged her mother's neck and gazed at the three aunties, reluctant to part. Aunties, come early tomorrow and play with Xiao Bauer. Shenrian pinched the little one's tender cheek. All right. When there's time, Annie will come play with you. Out the gate, the four of us headed up the mountain. Passing Accountant Lu's house, we saw him and Lu Dazhuang repairing the gate. That afternoon, the boar had punched a big hole in it. If it wasn't mended, mosquitoes and bugs would surely get in overnight. And Lu Dazhuang, being clumsy as ever, was assisting his father and couldn't even hold a board steady. As Accountant Lu drove the hammer down with a knock, the jolt made Lu Dazhuang's hand tremble. He lost his grip. The board sprang up and clipped Accountant Lu on the head. You worthless brat, no good at anything. A bottomless pit for food. Can't even hold a board right. What can you do? All the anger he'd swallowed from the Chen family that afternoon came pouring out onto his son. Furious, Accountant Lu kicked Lu Dazhuang aside. Get out of the way. Cursing done, he took the board and hammered away himself. Bang, bang. Never mind that Lu Dazhuang was 19, spoiled rotten by his mother. He was less sensible than a 9-year-old. He stamped his feet a few times and yelled toward the kitchen. Ma, look at Pa. He kicked me again. Hearing her son tattle, Zhao Xia stuck a spatula out the window and shouted, Lu, I'm telling you, take your temper out on my son again, and tonight you sleep outside. Don't come up on my Kong. Accountant Lu only worked his mouth without a sound. Curse muttered. He lifted his head, straight into the four of us. So galled his teeth itched, he hammered away at the nail. Bang, bang, and in his distraction knocked the hinge clean off. Crash, the whole gate came down and pinned him under it. AI, AI, AI. Buried and dizzy, Accountant Lu howled to high heaven. Somebody come get me out. Having watched enough of the show, I called to the girls, let's go home. We'd gone only a few steps when my father's shout came from behind. Third boy, wait. Pa, what are you doing out here? Is something the matter? My father hurried a few steps closer. Your ma sent me. My father handed me the flashlight in his hand. Here, the mountain path's too dark, and your ma was worried the three of them would be scared, so she sent me to bring you a flashlight. I took it. All right, Pa. If there's nothing else, we'll head off. Go on, get back early. He watched my retreating figure and sighed to himself. That boy's a good deal steadier than before. Marriage really does make a difference. I brought Shenrian and the others back to the cabin. The mountain path was rugged and the flashlight's beam limited. By the time the three of them got inside, their faces were white with fright. I reassured them. From now on, I'll do my best not to have you walking these paths after dark. Shenrian's calves were a little weak. She nodded and said, I'll go boil some water so we can wash up. Brother Chen, you should wash too. As she rose, her legs buckled and she nearly fell. Rian, don't bother. I'll do it. The big iron pot was out in the yard. I hauled up a few buckets of spring water, poured them in, lit the fire, and brought it to a boil. Carrying 2 buckets inside, I told the three of them, make do washing for tonight. Tomorrow when I go down for the pups, I'll have a wooden bathing tub made for you." At the mention of a bathing tub, Shun Ruyan's face went faintly pink. Thank you, Brother Chun. It's nothing. What's there to thank me for?" I lowered the door curtain for them. "Wash in the room. I'll go wash out back. Call me when you're done, and I'll come pour out the water." "Wait a moment." Shun Ruyan passed a towel and a bar of soap out from behind the curtain. "Brother Chun, use these." "All right." I took them and went to the spring out back. I washed fast, done in 10-odd minutes. Dressed, I didn't go back to the yard, afraid it'd be awkward if they came out fresh from their own bath. So I sat bare-chested on the big rock by the spring and went into the space to tinker. I hadn't looked in on it much all day, and I found a good deal of the greens were ready to eat, though the later ripening things, tomatoes, eggplants, string beans, and the like, still needed a dozen or so more days. But none of that was my chief concern. The mountain model was. Taking the chance to go over it carefully now, I discovered that in my space there was no night at all, only daytime. I turned the model, wanting a more detailed grasp of everything on the mountain. Suddenly, I spotted a dozen or so wild pheasant chicks huddled in a nest, mouths open and clamoring to be fed, all craning their necks and cheeping. Beside the nest lay a big pheasant, no longer breathing, blood running from its neck. Killed, by the look of it, by some beast. On the model, I shifted the nest's position, and the moment I let go, it appeared at my feet. I sent the chicks all into the space to forage among the fields on their own. To my surprise, the whole flock rushed toward the spirit spring to drink the water gushing from its mouth. I laughed. You little things really know good stuff when you see it. Once the dozen-odd chicks had drunk their fill, they went from drooping and listless to bright and vigorous, wings perked up, running off to snatch food from the domestic chickens. I watched the goings-on by the pond a while longer, seeing the big geese and ducks frolicking in the water, living so freely, far freer than I'd lived as a beast of burden in my last life. This flock of chickens, ducks, and geese had only been put in a few days ago, and already they'd produced a good many eggs. I counted, well over 130 all told. Egg freedom from here on. Pleased, I stepped out of the space, and turning around came face to face with Xia Wanqiu's bashful expression. Only then did I remember that, hot from my bath just now, I'd put on nothing but a loose pair of big shorts, no shirt. I took the short sleeve hanging on the tree fork and pulled it on, hooking my mouth slightly. "What is it, Wanqiu?" "Brother Chun, we're done washing." Since I'd said earlier that I'd pour out the water when they finished, she'd presumably come to fetch me for it. I answered, "All right, I'll be right back." When I got there, I found the bathwater had all been dumped out already. I asked, puzzled, "Did you pour out the water?" "2 big buckets, brimful. Easy for me to carry now, but before I'd drunk the spirit spring water, it would have been a real strain." Shun Ruyan nodded. "We didn't carry it in the buckets. We scooped it out with a basin, a little each trip." "Ah," I said, "don't use a basin from now on. Think how many trips that'd take. It's tiring, and bathing's tiring enough already." Speaking of bathing, with my keen sense of smell, I caught a particular fragrance in the cabin. Soap, it seemed, mingled with an unnamed light scent. It was distinctive, different from the soap Shun Ruyan had handed me. She gave her hair a slight shake and said thoughtfully, "It's fine. You worked all afternoon without a rest. We were afraid you were too tired and wanted you to rest properly." I was rather taken aback. I'd assumed the 3 of them were just being polite with me. After all, the Shun Ruyan I knew from my last life had been a woman of especially fierce temperament. I said in earnest, "You don't need to worry. That little bit of work this afternoon was nothing. From now on, leave all the heavy work at home to me. You do the lighter things, understand?" She blinked, then nodded. In truth, their main aim was simply not wanting to trouble me. Saying they feared I was tired was only a pretext. But she hadn't expected me to say such a thing, and it warmed her. Under conditions this hard, here was a man willing to take them in, and he'd asked no bodily price of them, and treated them with real respect. Shun Ruyan and Lin Rui exchanged a glance, and neither said anything more. "It's getting late, let's sleep." I drew the partition curtain closed and called to the 3 of them. Turning back to lock the cabin door, I lay down on my board bed, pillowed my head on my arm, and shut my eyes. Shun Ruyan gave a soft and, with Lin Rui, climbed onto the Kong to lay out the bedding and get ready for sleep. Only Xiao Wanqiu sat off to one side, biting her lip lightly, staring into space, thinking who knows what. Lin Rui nudged her. What are you thinking about? Huh? Xiao Wanqiu came to and giggled. Nothing, nothing. Let's sleep. Her face pink, she took off her jacket and burrowed into her own bedding. Shen Ruiyan put out the kerosene lamp and lay in her place, unable to sleep with her eyes shut. Ever since being sent down, she'd suffered insomnia, managing only 3 or 4 hours a night. The daytime was bearable, but at night, the moment she closed her eyes, scenes of home from before played across her mind like a film. Ruiyan, are you asleep? Xiao Wanqiu crept carefully into Shen Ruiyan's bedding and pressed close to her ear to ask. The room was pitch black, dark enough that you couldn't see your own hand. Shen Ruiyan edged over slowly and asked in a low voice, I'm not asleep yet. What is it, Wanqiu? Xiao Wanqiu dropped her voice, embarrassed. Ruiyan, do you know, Brother Chen has a really good build. His muscles are so solid. Half asleep, I heard someone praising my build. Listening closely, sure enough, it was that girl Xiao Wanqiu. No wonder she'd looked so mortified at me earlier that evening. She'd been looking at my build. So I opened up my hearing a little wider, wanting to catch exactly how the girl was praising me. Hearing Xiao Wanqiu's question, Shen Ruiyan went still all over and lowered her voice. When did you see Brother Chen's build? The room was black as pitch, so Xiao Wanqiu didn't have to worry about her blush being seen, and she grew bolder with her words. That time we were bathing. Remember I went out to call him back? He'd just finished washing too, bare-chested, and I saw. Before Shen Ruiyan could speak, Xiao Wanqiu gushed on like a smitten fool. Ruiyan, you didn't see. Brother Chen's muscles are all sun-bronzed. She just barely stopped short of saying they'd feel wonderful to the touch. Wanqiu, stop it. Shen Ruiyan hushed her in a whisper. Careful, he hears you. That he'd stopped bringing up sharing a bed already made her feel fortunate. If he overheard this and thought they were trying to tempt him, then proposed sharing a bed, what would they do? In the dark, Xiao Wanqiu pouted. She only wanted someone to share it with. And besides, she was being so quiet. How could I possibly hear? Shen Ruiyan pushed her back into her own bedding and cautioned softly, sleep early. Stop thinking about useless things. Making it through life properly is what's most real. Be good. With that, she tucked the quilt corner around her and returned to her own bedding to sleep. Though sleep only meant lying there with her eyes shut, dozing. Xiao Wanqiu lay by herself a while, but couldn't drop off. Supper had been so good. The fish Xiao Shulian stewed and the fish soup she simmered were both delicious, better than anything the master chefs back in the capital had made. She rubbed her belly, thinking how nice it would be to drink fish soup every day from now on. Tossing and turning, she saw Lin Rui's quilt shift, crept over quietly, and asked, Rui, are you asleep? When Lin Rui didn't answer, she asked again, Rui, are you asleep? No. Lin Rui hummed out a single syllable. Since being sent down, she'd slept even less than Shen Ruiyan, at most 2 hours a day. Rui, let me tell you something. At this, I turned onto my side and all but pricked up my ears, wanting to hear how the girl Xiao Wanqiu meant to praise me this time. What is it? Lin Rui tilted her head slightly and asked gently. Xiao Wanqiu rolled over and burrowed into Lin Rui's bedding. Let me tell you. Before she could, Lin Rui shoved her back out in distaste. Say it if you're going to say it. Why are you always crawling into people's bedding? Haven't I told you before? Oh. At those words, Xiao Wanqiu knew Rui was in a bad mood today. Because ever since she was small, she'd loved crawling into others' bedding. From her grandmother and mother down to her sisters and best friends, no one had ever refused her. Only Lin Rui. Catch her in a good mood, and she'd let her in. Catch her in a bad one, and she'd push her out. Xiao Wanqiu pulled her own quilt over herself and asked, concerned, Rui, we ate such tasty fish tonight. Why are you in a bad mood? Lin Rui gave an She didn't care to explain anything to this sunny little sister. Meaning to cheer her up, Xiao Wanqiu leaned close and whispered, Rui, let me tell you, Brother Chen has such a good build. You don't know, while we were bathing just now, he was bare. I was listening with interest when I heard Lin Rui say coldly, What's it to me whether his build is good or not? Xiao Wanqiu, I advise you to think about your own situation instead of grinning like a fool all day. If you think his build's so good, then stay and be his wife. And when Ruiyan and I go back to the city, You can dig your holes and plant your fields here. You. Xiao Wanxiu was choked into silence, at a loss for how to argue back. Hearing this, I raised an eyebrow. Lin Rui wasn't like Shen Ruyan or Xiao Wanxiu. Her nature was colder, and she seemed a bit hard to get along with. Though she never shirked a scrap of the work she ought to do, her heart still wasn't on this mountain. In truth, I wasn't in any hurry. There were still 3 years until Shen Ruyan's exoneration. I trusted that with my own personal charm, if I couldn't win the 3 of them over within 3 years, then I really would have been reborn for nothing. Over on her side, rebuffed by Lin Rui, Xiao Wanxiu returned to her own mat, lips pursed, unhappy. It took a good long while of talking herself round before she came out of it, muttering to herself under her breath, "Really? What's the big deal? When the day comes we can go back to the city, we'll just take Brother Chen along, and that'll be that." Having said it, she surprised even herself. She clearly didn't feel that kind of liking for me, only a fondness, a closeness. But the thought that one day she might return to the city suddenly made her a little reluctant to part. She figured Rui carried too much on her mind, which was why she was always in a bad mood. So she leaned over again, wanting to comfort her. "Rui, honestly, it's pretty nice here. Only for Lin Rui to kick her back. No force behind it, no pain, but a blow to the pride all the same." Xiao Wanxiu pouted, angry, and resolved not to speak to Rui until she woke tomorrow. Hearing all this, I nodded to myself. It seemed that of the 3 of them, the easiest to win over was that most guileless one, Xiao Wanxiu. I thought it over. The meat still needed eating up soon, otherwise idle was idle, and besides, this mountain-keeping life was dull. Early the next morning, Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui were up early to boil water and cook. Shen Ruyan still remembered how, when they'd first arrived in the countryside, they couldn't even get a fire lit, and the village head's wife had stood there jabbing a finger at their noses and cursing them a whole afternoon. Luckily, they'd only stayed in that village a month before leaving. Looking back now, it was all bitterness. Breakfast was cornmeal porridge, a plate of cucumber slices fried with egg, and a plate of twice-cooked pork, the meat left over from the boar 2 days ago. The dinner table stood in the yard. Once the dishes were fried and set out, Shen Ruyan stood at the cabin door and called, "Brother Chen, Wanxiu, come eat." Xiao Wanxiu was the youngest of the 3 and childishly innocent, so Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui indulged her and let her sleep until she woke naturally. Coming, Xiao Wanxiu sat up, stretched, put on her shoes, got down, and pulled aside the curtain between the Kong and my bed. Yawning and doing up her buttons, she called, "Brother Chen, breakfast." She didn't finish. At the sight of me bare-chested, she froze on the spot, and in her fluster tugged 2 of her own shirt buttons open. I was folding my quilt. I turned and caught sight of the exposed skin at her chest. Eek! Face red, hands clutching her chest, Xiao Wanxiu ran out. Watching Xiao Wanxiu bolt out in a fluster, I found it funny. This girl was innocent and guileless. I might as well use her as my point of entry. In the yard, Shen Ruyan and Lin Rui were ladling porridge. "Wanxiu, what are you running for? Your buttons aren't even done up." Shen Ruyan assumed she'd seen a bug. Xiao Wanxiu had been terrified of bugs since she was small, so after coming to the countryside, she was often frightened into shrieking by them. They were used to it by now. "Ruyan, listen to me." Before she could finish, Xiao Wanxiu let out a yelp and fell flat on the ground. "Ow, that hurts." The pain made her sit up quickly and check her foot. She pulled a tearful face. "Ruyan, I twisted my ankle. It really hurts." Shen Ruyan set down the ladle and came to look. It was twisted no lightly, a bit red and swollen. "How could you be so careless? Did you see a bug just now, running out in such a rush?" Brother Chen was still in the room. "If there was a bug, couldn't you have had him catch it for you?" No, it wasn't a bug." Remembering what had happened, Xiao Wanxiu said, face red, "It wasn't a bug." The words she'd swallowed just now she suddenly felt too shy to say. She hemmed and hawed and couldn't for the life of her explain what she'd seen. Just then I came out of the room, saw Xiao Wanxiu sitting on the ground, and asked, concerned, "What's wrong, Wanxiu?" "Eek!" At the sight of me, Xiao Wanxiu remembered her shirt buttons still weren't done up and quickly turned around to fasten them. But her hand trembled and she yanked a button clean off, Ryup, tearing the shirt too. She clutched her chest, unhappy, not lifting her head or saying a word. This shirt was the last piece of clothing her mother had bought her before she was sent down. She'd worn it these 3 months. Real silk, precious to begin with. Only after so many washings had it torn under her careless hand. Seeing her fall back into a childish sulk, Shin Ruyan turned to explain to me. She probably saw a bug in the room and got scared and ran out, and carelessly twisted her ankle. It's fine, some medicine and rest, and it'll heal. I twitched the corner of my mouth. Wasn't she embarrassed because she'd seen me bare-chested? Since when had I become a bug? Don't sit on the ground. I stepped forward, lifted Xiao Wanqiu up, and set her on a stool. The girl looked well-built enough, but she was actually very light, much lighter than Shin Ruyan. It seemed I still needed to properly build up their bodies these days. I examined Xiao Wanqiu's ankle. In that short span, it had already swollen up like a steamed bun. A light touch made her wince and cry out in pain. With your foot this swollen, medicine alone won't do it. I thought a moment. I'll go down the mountain later and get you some poultice. It's what Ma brought from her own family's home. 2 days packed on it, and the swelling will go down. Stay up here for now, don't go anywhere, and rest up properly. After all, a sinew or bone injury takes 100 days. Huh? That long? At 100 days, Xiao Wanqiu gaped, mouth open in shock. After breakfast, I went down the mountain alone. Only my sister-in-law and Xiao Bauer were home. I guessed my father and brother had gone to sell the meat and weren't back yet. Seeing me hurry back, Li Chunhong asked, concerned, "What's the matter, third boy? Why are you in such a rush?" I gulped down half a dipper of cold water. "It's like this, sister-in-law. Where's that bruise and sprain medicine Ma brought back? Get me some." Wanqiu twisted her ankle, and it's swollen up like a steamed bun. At that, Li Chunhong quickly set Xiao Bauer down and went to fetch it. In a moment, she brought not only the poultice, but also a small bottle of safflower oil. "Third boy, here, take both of these. Once the swelling's gone from the poultice, rub some safflower oil on the girl too. It'll heal faster." My hand, holding the safflower oil, trembled. I thought of all my sister-in-law had given the 4 of us siblings in my last life. An eldest sister-in-law is like a mother. After our parents were gone, she was the one who saw to marrying me off and to putting my younger brother and sister through school. All her life, she never enjoyed much comfort. Even hurt herself, she'd begrudge the cost of medicine, yet she was generous to everyone in the family. Living a second life, I resolved I'd never let my sister-in-law toil so hard again. "Don't just stand there." Seeing me silent, Li Chunhong urged, "Hurry back and get the poultice on Wanqiu. The longer it's put off, the more it hurts." I'll head back then, sister-in-law. I'll come see you all another day." With that, I turned and went out of the yard, running head-on into my father and brother, just back from selling the meat. "Pa, big brother, you're back. How'd the meat sell?" From the grins spread across their faces, it wasn't hard to see they'd gotten a price both were happy with. My father dug a wad of bills out of his pocket, 50-cent, 1 yuan, 10 yuan notes, all mixed in. He waved it in front of me and gestured. 175 yuan. Not bad, eh? Not bad at all. I shared in their happiness. With this 170 yuan, we could live a little easier for a while. As for the injured beasts and such up the mountain, there were actually plenty, but I couldn't keep bringing them home. Too many eyes in the village were fixed on our family. Over time, someone was bound to grow suspicious. "Pa, big brother, you two go home and rest. You've been at it all morning. I'll head back up the mountain." As I made to leave, pockmarked Wang II came out of his yard with 2 puppies tucked under his arm. "Shanlin, you're back just in time. Take these 2 little things off my hands. Month-old pups. The mother dog won't feed them anymore. Keeps nipping at their muzzles. Take them back, and it'll save me having to watch them all the time for fear she hurts them." 2 wolf-dog pups, 1 yellow and 1 black. Pockmarked Wang II had already tied ropes around their necks. I took the pups and set them on the ground, holding the leads. "All right, thank you, Uncle Wang, I'll take them off. Next time I've got offal or the like, I'll bring you more." In times like these, even people didn't eat well, let alone dogs. The reason pockmarked Wang II was so eager to hand off the pups was that the 2 little things ate too much, always stealing the mother dog's food. Hearing me say I'd bring offal again, he laughed happily. "Good. When the next litter comes next year, Uncle pick out a big one and hold it for you." "Thank you, Uncle Wang." Go on, go on." Wang II saw me off with a smile, then turned to my father. Brother Jangwo, you've raised your children real well. My father said modestly, not really. They just took plenty of beatings when they were small. Beat right into shape. Wang the second laughed heartily a few times and turned back home. My brother, following our father in through the gate, remarked with feeling, Pa, I've got to say, ever since the third boy got married, he's a lot steadier than before. He is a lot steadier. My father agreed with my brother. The two of them stood at the well in the yard, washing their hands. Now that the third boy's finally settled, all that's left is the fourth and the fifth. My father sighed. Once I've gotten those two little ones married off and set up in life, then I'll truly be old. I can retire with honor. My brother could never bear to hear our father talk of getting old or of dying. He said quickly, "What's this old talk? So what if you retire? Your eldest son will look after you and Ma." Pa nodded, gratified. You really are just like I was when I was young. Back in his young days, he'd been the eldest of his family too, and he'd seen his own parents through their old age and their burials single-handed. To hear such words from his usually reticent eldest son moved him. A person lives a whole lifetime, and isn't it all just for this? To live for your children and grandchildren, to see them grow up, marry, and have children of their own. My brother nodded and nodded. He thought so too. Meanwhile, I'd led the two pups down to the foot of the mountain. There were people about in the village, so I hadn't gone fast. But now, with no one around, I tucked a pup under each arm and tore off through the woods, wanting to get back quick and get the poultice on Xiao Wanqiu. Little Yellow and Little Black had been trotting along just fine. And then, suddenly, someone had them clamped under his arms at a dead sprint. The whole way, warm wind rushed straight into their mouths, blowing the two brothers' gums bare, leaving them dazed, not so much as a proper look at a single tree in the forest. 3 minutes later, I stopped 100 yards from the cabin. By now, Little Yellow and Little Black had their tongues blown sideways, lolling out one corner of their mouths. The two of them would have you know that the journey had been thoroughly unpleasant, nearly rattled their brains loose. But my mind was on getting the medicine onto Xiao Wanqiu, and I didn't notice the state of them. I'm back. I strode into the yard and set the two pups down. Their legs simply gave out, and they flopped flat on the ground. Shenrian said, startled, "Oh, why are these two puppies foaming at the mouth?" Only then did I notice. Probably because I ran back too fast just now and they couldn't keep up. They're fine. A little rest, and they'll come round. Let me go put the medicine on Wanqiu first. Xiao Wanqiu was lying on the Kong at that moment, howling with pain. She'd never hurt this badly in all her life. She wore a tearful little face, and the tears rolled down in a broken string of beads, plip after plip. She looked so pitiful it gave me a pang. "Don't cry, Wanqiu. Brother Chin's going to put the medicine on right now." Using the tone I'd used to coax a niece, I went out to the yard to wash my hands. "Ruyan, get me a clean bowl and a spoon." By the time I'd finished washing, Shin Ruyan had the bowl and spoon ready. I tipped the medicinal powder into the bowl and was about to add water when it struck me. Would spirit spring water make it work better? I smacked my forehead. If I'd known, I'd have had Xiao Wanqiu drink a little spirit spring water before I went down the mountain. I'd been in too much of a hurry at the time and clean forgot about the spring. With Shinruyan right beside me, I naturally couldn't go dip water from the space. I pointed at the two pups on the ground. "Ruyan, pour them a little water to drink. It'll help them come round faster." "All right." She turned and went inside for a chipped porcelain bowl, filled it, set it in front of the two pups, and gently stroked their fur. "Little ones, don't just lie there. Get up and have some water." Little Yellow struggled up, took one step, and his forelegs buckled, toppling him straight into Shun Rian's arms. When I'd finished dipping the spring water, I turned to see Little Yellow whimpering contentedly in her lap. I hadn't even held her yet, I thought, and you've already got the full treatment. I mixed up the medicine into a paste and carried it inside. "Brother Chun, it hurts." Xiao Wanqiu's mouth was drawn down, pitiable. "It won't hurt this much for a whole 100 days, will it?" She'd rather be put out of her misery. Terrified of pain since she was small, she needed the whole family to coax her before she'd even go get a shot. I reassured her. "Don't worry, Wanqiu. I promise, once this is on, a few minutes and the pain will be gone." "Really?" "Of course, really." I tipped the paste into my palm to warm it, then slowly packed it over her ankle. The bruise remedy already worked well, And with the boost of the spirit spring water, in under 3 minutes the pain was gone. She flexed her ankle and cried out in wonder. It really works. Brother Chen wasn't lying to me. Once the medicine's on, it really doesn't hurt anymore. She turned to Lin Rui, excited. Rui, didn't your family run a medicine factory before? You could have Brother Chen ask about the recipe for this. This is a wonder drug. It'd definitely sell like anything once you're back in the city. As she spoke, the swelling at her ankle visibly went down. But she'd touched on that sensitive phrase, going back to the city. Xiao Wanqiu realized she'd put her foot in it and clamped her mouth shut at once. Lin Rui turned her head away, awkward. Another man might have flown into a rage and let them have it. I didn't. I gathered up the medicine bowl and stood, telling Xiao Wanqiu, it doesn't hurt now, but you'd still best not walk around these next few days. If you're really bored, just come sit in the yard. She nodded dumbly and watched me go out. Rui, see how good Brother Chen is? Just now, when I mentioned going back to the city, he didn't even scold us. He really is a good person. Lin Rui shot her a look. You, learn to keep that mouth of yours in check. Oh, Xiao Wanqiu let out a little, oh, her gaze traveling through the glass to settle on me. The dazzling sunlight fell across me, as if laying a filter over her eyes. Out in the yard, Shenrian was still coaxing water into the two pups. I walked over and took Little Yellow from her hands. Rian, go inside and keep Wanqiu company. All right. She went in. Little Yellow yelped in fright and started paddling all 4 legs, trying to wriggle out of my grip. I gave his rump a light pat, dipped a bowl of spirit spring water from the space, and poured half into each brother. The 2 little things instantly perked up, their small eyes going round, and set off touring the whole yard, sizing up their new home. For several days running, the weather held fine. I didn't go down the mountain, only went now and then to gather a little medicinal herb nearby and lay it out to dry. The rest of the time, I stayed at the cabin, keeping the 3 of them company. Xiao Wanqiu's foot had healed completely, and she was back to her old bouncing, lively self. Seeing how many herbs I'd set out to dry, she sidled up to me, a little bashful. Brother Chun, when you go gathering herbs tomorrow, could you take me along? I hadn't expected that Xiao Wanqiu would want to come herb gathering with me. I set down the winnowing tray. Why do you want to gather herbs? Is it too boring in the yard? Your foot just healed. You can't walk mountain paths. If you're bored, let Little Yellow and Little Black keep you company. Little Yellow and Little Black rolled their eyes. Say now, brother, isn't judging a dog by his coat a little rude? Couldn't you have given the 2 of us proper names? We're hunting hounds, after all. When the other hounds go out on a hunt, folks call them Windchaser, Falcon. And come the day, there you'll be, hollering Little Yellow, Little Black across the hills. Just thinking about it was mortifying. Little Yellow cocked his head, turned around, and presented his backside to me. Humph, uncultured human. Xiao Wanqiu hemmed and hawed a good while, then finally lowered her head and said, embarrassed, I want to gather some herbs with you, dry them, and trade them for money. For money. I was baffled. What would you need money for? Or is there something you want to buy? If you're short of anything, just tell me. I remembered the last time I'd been to town, I'd stocked them up on every household item, all the best quality. I'd even laid in plenty of the sanitary belts they needed for their monthlies. There was no way they were short of anything. No, I'm not short of anything. She explained quickly. Brother Chun, you misunderstand. I don't need a thing. I just want to gather herbs to trade for money to buy a drawing board. Since coming home with me, their lives had improved enormously. No more rising before dawn to go work the fields with the villagers as in the past few months. It gave Xiao Wanqiu the pleasant illusion that she'd taken up a leisurely hermit's life in the mountains. And the scenery up here was simply too beautiful. She couldn't help wanting to record every lovely view. But she was too shy to come right out and ask me to buy her a board and paints, so she'd hit on the idea of gathering some herbs herself, then having me bring them along the next time I went to town to sell, and buy her a board with the proceeds. I understood the girl's little scheme and said with a smile, you don't need to stand on ceremony with me. If you want a drawing board, just say so. Next time I go to town to sell herbs, I'll buy one and bring it back. Really? Brother Chen, you're so good. Fussing over me, she took up her handkerchief and started dabbing the sweat from my brow. Reward me with something else, I thought. Before long, Shenrian and Lin Rui came out to make lunch, and Xiao Wanxiu happily told them all about how Brother Chun was going to buy her a drawing board. The two exchanged a glance, and Shun Rian said seriously, "No, Brother Chun, don't listen to Wanxiu. She's got a child's temperament. The board can wait." It wasn't anything else she worried over. The truth was she was afraid of adding to my burdens. Generally, only city folk could paint. Country people had no leisure for such refinements. And with things so tense just now, in the thick of the crackdown, a drawing board couldn't be bought through proper channels. If I got caught buying one on the black market, I might lose the mountain-keeping post. Xiao Wanxiu, plainly, wouldn't think through all that. She asked with a crumpled face, "But why, Rian?" Shin Rian explained at once, and she understood in a flash, pursed her lips, and said, "Brother Chun, I'm sorry, I didn't know it was like that. I don't want the board anymore." With that she went and sat, crestfallen, in a corner of the yard. I waved a hand, unconcerned. "It's fine, Wanxiu. If you want a drawing board, I'll just make you one. We've got so many trees up here. Pick any one of 40 or 50 years, and you can have a board as wide as you like." Really, the light that had gone out of her eyes instantly rekindled. "Brother Chun, I'll help you dry the herbs, and after that we'll go fell a tree." Seeing how she couldn't wait, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can't just fell a tree whenever. It has to be done all together when the village issues the permits. Huh. She pouted again. "And when's that?" I thought a moment. "Soon, middle of next month, I'd say. They should fell a batch then." "Oh, all right then." She couldn't have the board this instant, but next month she could. And so all morning long Xiao Wanxiu buzzed around me like a little bee. Brother Chun this, Brother Chun that, chattering and laughing without pause. Seeing how innocent she was, Shinrian hadn't the heart to say anything more. That afternoon I got ready to go gather herbs again. In truth, gathering herbs was only for show. I laid out a little herb now and then so that Shunrian and the others wouldn't grow suspicious the next time I went to sell things in town. And those herbs weren't even ones I'd gathered. All I had to do was find a clean, big rock, lie down on it, tip my straw hat over my face, and sun myself while I picked through the model in the space. The wild gastrodia, lingji, gentian, and the like would simply appear at my feet. Once I'd had my fill of sun, I'd load the herbs into my back basket and carry them home. This afternoon the sun was fierce, and I didn't feel like sunning myself. I meant to find somewhere shady to escape the heat. I'd gone only a few steps from the cabin when a call came from behind me. "Brother Chun, wait a moment." I turned to see Lin Rui coming toward me. "Oh, it's Rui. What is it?" I was curious what would bring the usually taciturn Miss Lin to seek me out on her own. She carried a small basket on her arm and a little chopping knife in her hand, and said tentatively, "I'd like to go gather herbs with you. Would that be all right?" Why? I thought, did they all, one after another, want to come herb gathering with me? I asked, puzzled, "Is there something you want to buy too?" No, no. She explained a little nervously. "There's nothing I want to buy. It's just, you've promised to make Wanxiu a drawing board, so you'll have to buy her paints as well. I'd like to gather herbs with you, so we can gather more and sell more." Paints weren't cheap, and after buying them all so much the other day, I'd surely spent every bit of savings. How could she in good conscience let me keep toiling away to earn money and feed them? Though she'd no intention of actually marrying me, she hoped a good man would be repaid with good and would put by more money, so that once they'd gone back to the city, he could take a wife from the village and not be left with nothing. If I'd known at that moment that Lin Rui was thinking of helping me earn more so I could marry some village woman, I'd probably have pinned her down in the woods and shown her firsthand what a real man was made of. Seeing me silent, she took it for refusal and stepped closer to press her case. "Brother Chun, take me along. I promise I won't hold you back." All right. It wasn't a matter of holding me back, I thought. If Lin Rui came along, I couldn't very well go dragging herbs out of the space. But on second thought, I'd never counted on making any real money off these herbs anyway. Letting her come could just be an outing, and with a beauty for company, why not? "All right, let's go." I nodded, shouldered my basket, and walked in front. "Stay close behind me. The mountain paths are hard going. You've got the snake repellent powder on you." She nodded and patted her jacket pocket. "It's on me." "It's fine, Brother Chun. I'm not afraid of snakes." In fact, she was afraid. She'd only forced out the brave words for fear I wouldn't take her. "Good, then let's go." The two of us went, one behind the other, and soon entered the mountains. Rui, did your family run a medicine hall? I asked, making conversation. She hesitated. Yes, my family ran a medicine hall and dealt in medicinal materials too. How many years has it been open? With 2 lifetimes of experience, I figured I might guess which enterprise her family was. She thought about it. It's been going since my great-grandfather's generation, I suppose. She didn't much want to talk about her family, but with me asking, she couldn't well refuse. After that one sentence, she fell silent, deliberately keeping a couple of yards between us. Her family had been wronged, and she'd drifted here. The only recompense she could ever make me, she reckoned, was a material one. As for anything else, better let that be. She said nothing more, and I didn't speak either. A medicine hall passed down from her great-grandfather. That was a century-old name brand. I thought it over and remembered a family enterprise that became famous in later years, the Lin Group, with century-old flagship stores in every district of the capital. Their combined holdings were said to run to tens of billions, a genuine great house. I slowed my pace, waiting, casually, for her to catch up. I couldn't have this young lady getting lost. Down the road, I still meant to be living in a great villa in the capital. We walked a while, passing plenty of herbs. With Lin Rui there, I couldn't slack off. I had to honestly start digging. I dug a small heap, then turned to check whether she was beside me, and saw her standing there holding 2 stalks of grass, frowning over them. What's wrong, Rui? What are you puzzling over with 2 big stalks of stinkweed? Hearing it was stinkweed, she flung them away at once. I thought it was gentian. She wore a troubled look. When it came to kinds of medicinal materials, she knew several hundred. Her family ran a medicine hall, and her grandfather and father had meant to groom her, so she'd had a great deal of traditional medicine drummed into her from childhood. But the materials she knew were all dried and sliced, fresh. She couldn't tell apart. I smiled, fished a small plant out of the pile, and tossed it to her. This is gentian. Dig based on this one. Though gentian wasn't worth much in this era, a caddy fetched only 30-odd yuan. It sounded like a good sum, but the truth was it took 20 caddies of gentian to yield a single dried caddy. Painfully slow and laborious work. That was why I'd tossed it into the pile just now. Too much bother to dry the stuff. Lin Rui only knew the price was decent. She didn't know it took 20 caddies to make one. She set to hunting gentian nearby to dig. I picked a few hazel mushrooms, meaning to toss out a pheasant later and have chicken stewed with mushrooms tonight. I flung the mushrooms into the basket and laid down on the big rock to rest. Rui, don't go too far, just dig around close by. All right. She wiped the thin sweat from her brow and, not resting a moment, kept on digging gentian. When I woke from my nap, she was still at it, sweat already soaking the front of her shirt. I twitched the corner of my mouth. The young lady worked far too hard. Only the yield seemed rather too meager. Rui, stop digging. Let me take you to find something worth real money. Cheeks flushed red with heat, she brightened at the mention of something valuable, snatched up her basket, and hurried along behind me. As I walked, I searched the model in the space. 2 li off, a sika deer was shedding its antlers. I drew back my attention and led her toward the deer. She'd surely recognize the antlers, I thought. If I let her find them herself, it might cheer her up for a good while. The sika deer finished shedding and vanished without a trace, with Lin Rui following at my heels. After 2 hours digging, she had only a scant half basket of gentian, probably not even enough to buy a tube of paint. She hadn't imagined herb gathering in the mountains would be this hard. It seemed that when the time came to leave, she ought to leave me a good deal more money. Enough, at the very least, to keep me in food and clothing the rest of my days. She was in the midst of these thoughts when the antlers by the path caught her eye. Brother Chun, look. She ran over delighted, picked up the antlers, and held them aloft for me. We're so lucky, we actually found these. Deer antlers, in any era, were valuable goods, enough to feed a normal family of 5 for the better part of a year. I gave her a thumbs up in praise. Your eyes are sharper than mine. I didn't even see them. She was a little flustered at the praise and said bashfully, not really. The great beauty, usually cold as ice and frost, had at last come to life. I loaded her basket and the antlers together into mine and said, it's getting late. Let's stop digging here for today. If you still want to gather more, we'll come again tomorrow. She nodded and fell in behind me toward the cabin. Brother Chun, do you think we could find antlers again if we come out tomorrow? she asked lightly. Anytime I wanted, I thought. I could raid the Cicadier's very den and bring back the fawns, never mind antlers. I smiled and reassured her. Come out tomorrow and see. It's the season for the deer to shed just now. Finding antlers shouldn't be hard at all. That sent her confidence soaring, and she resolved to come out looking for antlers again the next day. So caught up in the thought, she missed her footing and tumbled straight into the brush at the edge of the path. The bushes were full of twigs and branches. I heard two ripping sounds, and turning, saw Lin Rui with her back to me. Two tears torn open on the seat of her trousers and across her back. The branch behind must have been sharp. It had cut clean through, tearing a hole even at the seat and drawing beads of blood that welled steadily from the exposed skin. I took 2 quick steps and helped her up. Rui, are you hurt? Dazed from the fall, she drew in a sharp breath at the pain behind her and forced out through gritted teeth, I'm fine. How can you be fine? You're bleeding. I quickly stripped off my jacket, meaning to drape it over her from behind. Lin Rui only felt a draft at her backside. She glanced around, and her face flushed crimson in an instant. I'll do it myself, Brother Chun. She took the jacket from me and put it on. A man's scent reached her nose, not unpleasant, actually, without the least whiff of sweat. I steadied her and murmured, Careful now, watch your footing. Just then, all she felt was a burning ache behind her, the pain shooting from her back down to her tailbone with every step. The mountain path was rugged to begin with, uneven underfoot, and I was carrying the herb baskets, big and small, while easing her along. We'd gone perhaps a few dozen yards when she couldn't bear it any longer. She could even feel the beads of blood welling up on her skin, that sticky sensation. What's wrong, Rui? Does it hurt a lot? I asked, seeing the sweat already running down her forehead. She bit her lip. She'd meant to hold out until we reached home, but the wound throbbed and throbbed until she felt drained of all strength. Brother Chun, could I rest a moment before we go on? All right. I looked around and saw nowhere to sit. Thinking it over, I realized, even if there had been somewhere, with her seat cut up as it was, she couldn't very well sit. Standing to rest is slow going. Let's do this. I'll turn my back to you, and you lean against me and catch your breath. The weather was hot and their clothes were thin. If she hadn't truly been in too much pain to walk, she'd never have agreed. She pondered a good while, then finally nodded. Sorry to trouble you, Brother Chun. What trouble is that? Go on, lean. I bent forward a little so she could rest against my back. Mindful of her chest, she didn't lean straight against me, but turned to the side to rest. Even so, I felt a certain softness. We stayed like that a while, and not only did the pain not ease, she seemed to grow weaker and weaker. Brother Chun, I feel a little dizzy. She got no further. Her voice cut off. I turned to check on her and found she'd fainted. The muggy weather, most likely, and the pain of the wound. Rui? Rui. I called twice. There was no response at all. So, avoiding her wound, I gathered her up and carried her toward the cabin. Worried she'd taken heat stroke and the wound might fester, I stopped after a few steps, took half a bowl of spirit spring water from the space, and got it down her. Once the water went in, I washed her knotted brow slowly smooth. The body curled in my arms cool a little, her breathing even out. She drifted into sleep, it seemed. This spirit spring truly was a fine thing. I paused, lifted the cloth at her back, and checked the wound. What had been a gash close to 2 centimeters wide, with the flesh curled open, seemed much shallower now, its edges gone smooth, no longer seeping. Only then, reassured, did I take her up again and thread my way along the forest path. In the yard, Shen Ruyan and Xiao Wanqiu were picking over vegetables. Seeing us return, they rushed to open the gate. Brother Chun, what's happened to Rui? I dropped the herb basket from my shoulder into the yard and carried her toward the house, explaining as I went. Rui fell in the woods just now and cut herself. Reaching the doorway, I called back to Shun Rian behind me. Rian, fetch a basin of clean water so we can wipe her wound. All right. She was quick. I'd barely laid Lin Rui on the Kong before she came in with the basin. I glanced at it and said, Go to the cabinet and get a clean towel too. All right. While she turned to fetch the towel, I tipped a small half bowl of spirit spring water into the basin. That way Lin Rui would mend a little faster, and the wound wouldn't pain her either. Shen Ruyan dug a new towel out of the cabinet and came back to the Kong. Seeing Lin Rui lying face down, eyes shut and motionless, she asked anxiously, Brother Chen, what's wrong with her? Doesn't she need medicine? There's no danger to her life, is there? The three of them weren't blood sisters, but they'd been through life and death together, and their bond had long since run deeper than that of real sisters. Shen Ruyan reached out worriedly to test the breath at Lin Rui's nose. It came steady enough, her color normal, and only then did she ease a little. No danger to her life, but she does need medicine. I drew a small packet of anti-inflammatory, blood-stanching, flesh-knitting powder from my inside pocket and handed it over. Once you've cleaned her up, put this on the wound. She took it. Thank you, Brother Chun. It's nothing. I'll step out then. I turned and nearly ran into Xiao Wanqiu behind me. She cared a great deal about Lin Rui, but the sight of blood always left her dizzy and nauseous, a tightness in her chest. Shen Ruyan, of course, knew her weakness. Wanqiu, go wait outside with Brother Chun. Rui should be fine. I'll call you when she wakes. Oh, call me the moment Rui wakes up, all right. Lips pursed, Xiao Wanqiu followed me out of the cabin. Seeing the herbs and the antlers in the basket, she sidled up to me, all sweetness. Brother Chun, what animal's antlers are these? I pulled up a stool and sat by the basket. Deer antlers. Rui found them. In a few days I'll take them to town to sell and buy your paints. She let out a small huh and asked nervously, did Rui risk her life prying loose these antlers just to buy me paints? With that she burst into tears. Brother Chun, it's all my fault Rui got hurt. No. Seeing how heartbroken she was, I hurried to comfort her. Don't cry, Wanqiu. Listen, these antlers weren't pried off. It's the season when the Sika deer up here shed their antlers, and we picked these up on the way back. Really? Her little face all streaked with tears, she stared at me, half believing. I smiled. Of course, really. Off to the side, sunning themselves, Little Yellow and Little Black rolled their round little eyes at me in scorn. I told the truth every word. No need to drag their good names into my oaths. Inside the house, Shen Ruyan took off the jacket and, seeing the wounds on Lin Rui's back and behind, drew in a sharp breath. Not deep, but wide, close to a centimeter. Wouldn't it scar? Since Lin Rui still hadn't woken, she picked up the scissors, meaning to cut away the ruined clothing. But the moment her hand touched the collar, Lin Rui clutched her clothes in a death grip. Brother Chun, don't take it off. Shen Ruyan's hand froze. What did the girl mean by that? Had Brother Chen taken off her clothes just now? Impossible. She didn't believe he was that sort of man. Rui, wake up. She patted Lin Rui's shoulder gently. Before long, Lin Rui's eyes drifted open. Seeing the familiar surroundings, the familiar face, she pressed her lips together and let out one aggrieved little word, Ruyan. Even so, she didn't shed a single tear. Had it been the pain-averse, tender Xiao Wanqiu, she'd have been bawling long since. Rui, bear with it, Shen Ruyan said softly. Let me cut away the torn clothes first, then clean the wound. It may hurt a little, hold on. She gripped the pillow tight, lying face down. To her surprise, the wound didn't hurt nearly as much as she'd feared. Even when Shen Ruyan wiped it directly with the soft cloth, there was no stinging. Soon Shen Ruyan had it cleaned and dressed, and rather than risk covering it with clothing, she laid a thin, light sheet gently over her. Shen Ruyan had thought to call Xiao Wanqiu in, but recalling that don't take it off, she wanted to get to the bottom of things first. Wiping the blood from the Kong, she settled at its edge, hesitated a long while, then asked carefully, Rui, were you asleep just now? Face on the pillow, turned to meet her eyes, Lin Rui, the pain gone, some strength returning, smiled faintly. I suppose so. I think I even dreamed. It was an awkward sort of dream. She was wondering, if Ruyan asked, whether to tell the truth. Seeing her bashfulness, Shen Ruyan hesitated, but asked anyway. Did you dream Brother Chan was taking off your clothes? Lin Rui was stunned. How did she know? Had she talked in her sleep just now? Surely not. That would be mortifying. Seeing her blush, Shen Ruyan felt her guess more or less confirmed. If it was only a dream, then it was nothing. Here's what happened. And she repeated the sleep talk, that don't take it off. When Lin Rui had heard her out, her small oval face flooded scarlet. If she could, she'd have crawled into a crack in the floor. Too embarrassing. Ruyan, It was only a dream. Don't read into it. And she recalled the intimate feeling of leaning against me when I'd offered my back. In all her years, she'd never been that close to any man. Having gotten the whole thing straight, Shin Ruyan set her mind at ease and went out to fetch Xiao Wanqiu. The girl came in with red-rimmed eyes and crouched at the Kang's edge, asking tenderly, "Rui, does it hurt?" Lin Rui tugged up a weak little smile. "Don't worry, Wanqiu. Ruyan's put medicine on it. It doesn't hurt at all now. It's all my fault for wanting paints." Xiao Wanqiu's lips drew down. Even after I'd talked her round, she still felt guilty. Lin Rui reached out to tidy the wisps of hair at Xiao Wanqiu's brow and comforted her. "It has nothing to do with you. Since Brother Chen took us in, we can't very well do no work at all. Going up the mountain to gather a little herb and help the household along. That's only right. Since knowing me, they no longer had to be out working the fields on the dot each day. Life had grown lighter than they could count. Rui, get well fast, and we'll go up the mountain together to gather herbs and help out." With that, Xiao Wanqiu nodded hard and made up her mind on the spot. The next time Brother Chen went up to gather herbs, she'd go along and pick up antlers. Through this time of being sent down, she'd felt keenly that she was holding her two sisters back. From today on, she had to buck up. At supper, Xiao Wanqiu dropped her usual delicacy and pitched in, rinsing the rice, picking over the greens, doing the work that had been Lin Rui's. But, never having done a lick of it, she put too much water in the rice and steamed it into a porridge neither dry nor thin. And with the rape greens, not knowing to throw away the tough outer ring, she tossed them straight into the pot, so some of the leaves fried up hard. By the time Shin Ruyan, feeding the fire, noticed, it was too late. Looking at the leaves in the pot, half old and half tender, she was at a loss. Fry them longer, and the tender ones would turn to mush. Less, and the old ones wouldn't cook through. Even so, she hadn't the heart to say one word of blame. The next day, after breakfast, I dressed and got ready to head down the mountain to ask my mother whether the clothes for the three of them were finished. Otherwise, Lin Rui could only lie face down on the Kong under a sheet. Back home, my brother and sister-in-law had already pushed the flatbed cart off to the fields, and my mother wasn't in the house either. I went around to the vegetable garden behind and found my father weeding. "Pa, where's Ma?" He didn't look up, pulling weeds as he spoke. "Your Ma went over to Tailor Joe's to pick up the clothes for your wives." At the words, "your wives," I couldn't keep the smile off my face. "All right, I'll wait at home a bit." I crouched down to weed alongside him. No sooner had I crouched than he stood up. "Third boy, mind the house. I'll go down to the brigade and ask why this succession business still hasn't come through. Don't want it going sideways on us." I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. My father had always been like this, a man of action. "All right, go on. I'll just wait here for Ma to get back." He nodded and strode off with his hands behind his back. I kept pulling weeds. About an hour on, with the weeding just about done, my mother came home with a cloth bundle over her arm. Hearing her step, I went back inside. "Ma, are the clothes for Ruyan and the others finished?" Not wanting her to worry, I said nothing about Lin Rui being hurt. "They're done." She opened the bundle and shook out the clothes and trousers one by one. "Look, all made for your wives. Take them back in a bit and have them try them on. If anything doesn't fit, I'll take it back for altering." I nodded. "Good. Then I won't linger, Ma. I'll head back up." Having come to collect the clothes, I still needed to stop by the clinic for some anti-inflammatory, blood-stanching powder to keep on hand, in case one of the three got hurt someday, and there was none to use. My mother found me a piece of cloth to wrap the 3 sets in, teasing as she did. A newlywed wife really is different. Can't bear to be away from her a single moment. I turned bright red and laughed. "It's only that I'm anxious to get them their clothes." No need to explain. Your ma understands." Wearing the look of one who'd been through it all, she asked mysteriously, "Son, next year, will you let your ma hold a grandson or granddaughter of your own?" At that I flushed a little too. "Ma, what's the hurry? Yo, so you're bashful now." She marveled as if she'd discovered a new land. "In all these years, this is the first time I've seen my son embarrassed." Ha ha ha. My ears were burning. I laughed, picked up the bundle, and made to go. "Ma, I'm off then." "I'll wait." She came out after me in a couple of quick strides, lowered her voice, and asked again, "Third boy, tell your ma the truth. The 3 of them still haven't let you touch them, have they?" I burst out laughing. You old lady, you'll believe anything. What a lot of questions. See, I hit it right, didn't I? She pursed her lips. Those first couple of days you brought them back, your ma thought, be good to them. Have the whole family be good to them, so they'll settle their hearts and live properly with you. And look, it's been days now. Why still no touching? Go on like this, and how'll you ever make a proper life of it? City girls were wilder to begin with than their country daughters. She even suspected they might be looking for a chance to slip back to the city someday. Son, level with your ma. Won't they let you touch them? Seeing her turn serious, I put away the smile and explained, Ma, we've only known each other a few days. We've got to build up some feeling first, haven't we? She grew a bit anxious and raised her voice. What's there to build up? Your pa and I met for the first time the very day we married. And that same night we went into the bridal chamber. That business doesn't need rehearsing beforehand. I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. In the end, out of options, I raised a hand. I swear, by this time next year I'll have both you and pa holding a grandchild, all right? Really? Of course, really. I threw out my chest. Don't you trust your son's charm? It wasn't bragging. From the time I was small, in our village and the ones roundabout, no fewer than 30 aunties had said they'd marry their daughters to me. It was only later, when Accountant Lou started throwing spanners in the works and always came down on our family, that no matchmaker dared introduce me to anyone again. Hearing she might hold a grandchild next year, my mother's eyes lit like stars and she nodded away. Good, good. Then your ma will wait for your good news. I came out of the house smiling and set off up the mountain path. Passing Accountant Lou's place, Lou Dazhuang was just opening the gate to come out. At the sight of me, he gave a cold snort, his whole face full of contempt, then shut the gate and headed off toward the brigade office. Watching him go, I couldn't shake the feeling he was up to no good. I'd have to tell my father and brother to keep an eye on the Lou family. So I thought, but my feet didn't stop. A few hundred yards from the cabin, I heard shouting. I quickened my pace and in seconds reached the back of a crowd. Luckily, they were squared off against Shen Rian and Xiao Wanqiu in the yard, and no one noticed me. With those people in the way, the two women hadn't noticed me either. In front of them, Little Yellow and Little Black were barking and snarling at the mob. What's this about? Who are you people? I pushed through to the man at the front and saw a somewhat familiar face. Wasn't this Lu Chang's nephew, Lu Haiqing? Only the Lu Haiqing standing before me now was a bit younger than the one in my memory. In my last life, it had been this very man who, after my father retired, took over the forest keeper's post. Word later had it that Lu Haiqing dug up no small quantity of valuable herbs and treasures on the mountain, laying by a fortune of tens of millions for his son and grandson. Only in this life my father had retired 10 years early, so how had this Lu Haiqing turned up 10 years early too? Lu Haiqing didn't know me, and of course paid me no mind. He curled his lip. The old man who keeps this forest, go call him out, quick. I'm taking over his post. I didn't move. He said, hugely impatient. Go on. Didn't you catch it? I said, I'm taking over the forest keeper's job. And with that he glared up at me, his two big eyes bulging. To Lu Haiqing's left and right stood 6 half-grown lads, all about my age. One of them, a loutish sort, spat a mouthful and jabbed a finger at my shoulder. You gone deaf in the ears, boy? Brother Cheng's talking to you. You not hearing him? This one was called Zhao Lu, one of Lu Haiqing's hangers-on. His father's rank 2 rungs below that of Lu Haiqing's uncle, Lu Chang. In my last life, I'd had no dealings with this lot. My father had wanted me to take over the post, and I'd flatly refused, bent on going out and making something of myself, and so it had fallen to Lu Haiqing later. But this life, with Lu Haiqing showing up early to snatch the job, he couldn't blame me for what came next. Before Zhao Lu could react, I seized his wrist and gave it a hard twist. There was a crack, and his howl went up in the same instant. Io, Io. With a heave I flung him a dozen yards off. Aya. Lu Haiqing flung out a finger at me. You dare rough up my man? You'd best go ask around who your young master. Before he'd finished I grabbed for his wrist. A crack, and I had him yowling. Io, it hurts, it hurts. Lu Haiqing was a year younger than me, and used to swaggering about. It was the first time in his life he'd been on the receiving end. Clutching his wrist, he backed off a few steps and ordered the remaining 4. What are you standing around for? Get him. The 4 looked at one another. Each knew he was no match for me one-on-one. Then, with much noise, rushed me together. What they didn't know was that even 40 of them, right now, would be no match. In the yard, Shen Ruyan and Xiao Wanqiu were pacing in a panic, hunting for something to use as a weapon, afraid their brother Chun would be overwhelmed. Little Yellow and Little Black joined the fray too. While I'd been away, the two little things had kept guard over the household's two mistresses, and now, seeing me set upon by four, they scrambled out from under the gate and lunged at the shins of two of the troublemakers, biting hard. Since drinking the spirit spring water, the pup's teeth had grown thicker and far sharper. In summer, clothes are thin to begin with, and by the time those two felt the pain in their legs, Little Yellow had already left several tooth marks. Damn you! One of them raised a foot to kick at Little Yellow. Quick-eyed and quick-handed, I lifted a leg in a spinning sidekick and sent both men sprawling, buying Little Yellow the moment to dodge. He sprang aside, wagged his tail at me, then turned his rump to the two on the ground and wriggled it smugly, letting out a triumphant little sound, as if to say, "Missed me. Eat dirt." The other two, seeing how capable I was, lost their nerve on the spot, raised fists hanging in midair. In their hesitation, I kicked them both flying, and they crashed down to either side of Zhao Lu, clutching their bellies and moaning. "Brother Chong, this guy's too good. We're no match." Lu Haiqing had gone a little pale himself now. Gripping his hurt wrist and afraid I'd come at him, he probed warily. "You're that forest keeper old man's son, aren't you? Don't do anything stupid. Your pa's post. The town's already approved it for me. My paperwork's nearly done, just needs one big leader's signature." Seeing I made no move to advance, he pressed on. "Now, I'm not an unreasonable man. I'll give you a week to clear out of this cabin. As for today's little injury, I won't stoop to squabbling with you over it." I hooked my mouth into a slight smile and stepped toward him, one pace at a time. And if I don't move out? That advance was all it took. It scared Lu Haiqing flat onto his backside. He scrambled back a few steps, struggled up, and darted behind Zhao Lu to hide. "If you don't move, I've got no end of ways to deal with you." With that, he called his lackeys to retreat, and once they backed to a safe distance, he crowed again. 7 days from now, I'll bring people to tear down this shabby cabin of yours." I watched them limp off with a cold smile. A pack of useless trash. Now that I'd activated the mountain god space, there was no way I'd let the forest keeper's post slip past me. I suspected the reason Lu Haiqing had come so early this life might well be because I'd taken in Shen Ruyan and the others. And that day at the brigade office, I hadn't shown Lu Chong the least good face. A petty man like Lu Chong was bound to bear a grudge, so he'd seized on my father's job transfer to work behind the scenes and put his nephew in my place. I stood at the gate until Lu Haiqing was out of sight, then turned and went into the yard. 7 days was plenty. He knew one big leader, as if anybody didn't. As for whose hands the post finally landed in, well, ride the donkey and read the songbook. We'd see as we went. Hearing that we might have to move, Shen Ruyan and Xiao Wanqiu were suddenly gripped with panic. They'd truly had their fill of a life adrift. Only just now had they passed a few settled, peaceful days in these mountains. And now Lin Rui was hurt. If they had nowhere to go, and I came to resent them for holding me back, would they be shipped off to the next village all over again? At the thought of being sent away again, Shen Ruyan asked, worried, "Brother Chun, what do we do? Do we really have to move?" I wore a look of complete assurance. "Don't worry. You've got me." I didn't go inside. I set the bundle of clothes on the stone table and added, "Rian, these are the new clothes Mom made for you all. Try them on and see if they fit. If not, I'll take them back for altering." There was an urgent matter just now. I still had to make a trip down the mountain. Since Lu Haiqing had come this fast, my father would have gotten word by now. My old man had a hot temper. If he learned Lu Haiqing had bumped him from his post, he was sure to lay hands on those bastards. "I've got something to see to. I'm going down the mountain. I won't be back for lunch, so don't wait on me." Xiao Wanqiu's little face scrunched up. She wanted to ask whether I no longer wanted them. Her lips parted, but before a sound came out, Shen Ruyan pulled her back and smiled with feigned calm. "All right, go on, Brother Chun. Go and come back quick, careful on the road." "Good. I'll be back before dark for certain." I gave it no more thought, my mind fixed on getting home. Glancing back at the two little ones keeping watch at the gate, I crouched and rubbed Little Black's forehead. "You two little things, guard your mistress as well. If anything happens again, Go down the mountain and find me first, understand? A woo. Little Black flopped obediently to the ground. Little Yellow, meanwhile, turned his head away and wouldn't look at me. After I'd gone, Xiao Wanxiu asked Shenrian with drooping lips. Rian, Brother Chen left in such a hurry. Is it because he doesn't want us anymore? He won't do that, Shenrian soothed. He doesn't seem like that kind of person. Let's wait and see when he's back tonight. She picked up the bundle of new clothes and said, with a show of ease, Come, Wanxiu, let's go in and try them on. Haven't you been looking forward to new clothes for days? Oh, Xiao Wanxiu followed her in. More than having new clothes to wear, she was worried about whether she could go on staying in this little cabin. It was plain and crude, and they'd lived here only a few days, yet somehow it made her feel utterly at ease. The thought of leaving stung her nose. Down the mountain, I made straight for home at a run. Only my mother was there, cooking lunch. Ma, after I left just now, did Pa come back? She looked at her son, drenched in sweat, and frowned. Your Pa still isn't back. What is it? Something happened? No, nothing. I'm off then. Afraid she'd worry, I didn't dare tell her the truth. And besides, I was afraid that if I did, she'd charge over to help Pa in the fight herself. A fight was no business to trouble one's parents with. I was more than enough on my own. From home, I went straight to the brigade office, but my father wasn't in Li Fugui's office. Li Fugui, at the sight of me, put on an apologetic face. Nephew, I'm truly sorry. Who could have guessed that when your Pa took early retirement, someone would snatch the post right out from under him? Why don't you wait a while? When there's other suitable work in the village, Uncle here will be the first to set you up. How's that? As he spoke, he sized me up, watching my expression. If you told me Li Fugui and Accountant Lu hadn't cooked this up together behind the scenes, I'd never believe it. Not if you beat me to death. Accountant Lu's younger brother had married Li Fugui's younger sister. Back in their young days, the two had grown up thick as thieves, sharing a single pair of trousers. The two of them were simply this. One a surface-friendly type, rotten underneath. The other rotten on the surface and worse underneath. I didn't coddle Li Fugui. You can't put it that way. Aside from the village heads and accountants' jobs, how many posts in our village are as cushy as a forest keeper's? Oh, right. Those brigade leader posts are pretty good too. Can you arrange a brigade leader post for me to fill? Li Fugui was choked into silence and squeezed out a stiff smile. You child, all this nonsense. Brigade leaders are appointed by the town. Where would I get such authority? Besides, look here. He tugged open his collar to show a great patch of bruising across his shoulder. See what your Pa did to me just now. One punch nearly smashed my shoulder to bits. That was no small bruise across Li Fugui's shoulder. I knew well enough it was the sort of thing my old man would do once his temper flared. Only in this era, unlike later times, you couldn't shake people down over such things. Mostly a beating was just a beating, at worst a few yuan in medical costs, and more often it was for free. I didn't care to hear more of Li Fugui's blather and asked outright, Where's my Pa? Where'd he go? His face soured. A car came from the town to deliver documents, and he insisted on riding back with it to go hash it out with the big leader. Ah, he sighed again. Nephew, go and talk your old man round. If it can't be helped, forget the post. The fellow who's got it has people backing him at home. Then, if it really comes to it, I'll go negotiate. Let you few keep the cabin to live in. Isn't that enough? That made me laugh in spite of myself. Since the fellow's got such powerful backing, why don't you hand him the village head's job? You. Li Fugui curled his lip and fell silent, seething with resentment at my father and me. If it weren't for the truckload of women coming in that afternoon, plus 2 sent down from the city, he'd never have stooped to talking to me so humbly. He was counting on me to take those 2 women off his hands. I had no notion of his little scheme and turned to run toward the edge of the village. My old man might come to grief in town. I found a deserted little path and tore toward the town at some 60-odd miles an hour. About halfway there, I suddenly heard a great crash from the direction of the road, something like a collision. I cut out through the path and, sure enough, saw 2 vehicles smashed together on the road, a truck for hauling people and one of the town's jeeps. My heart sank. Wasn't that jeep the very one that always came to deliver documents? My father should still be inside. The jeep's front end had plunged into the big ditch by the road, luckily not on the passenger side. I rushed over, wrenched the locked door open with one heave, and saw my father slumped against the seat, unconscious. Thankfully, the old man had his seatbelt on and looked unhurt. Pa. I unbuckled him, lifted him from the car, and laid him flat by the roadside. No external injuries, but I couldn't be sure of internal ones. I opened the water canteen he carried, only a few mouthfuls left. In my anxiety, keeping my body between us as a screen, I dipped the canteen half full of Spirit spring water and got the whole of it down him. No sooner had he swallowed than his eyes opened. He breathed out a stale breath and looked around, dazed, as if he'd forgotten where he was. Pa, does anything hurt? I circled him, checking front and back, still finding no external wound. He turned to look at the Jeep and the truck, and only then remembered, on his way to town just now, there'd been an accident. It's fine, it's fine. He raised an arm and worked his joints. Nothing felt wrong. Seeing me beside him, he said, surprised, "Third boy, how are you here?" I was about to make up some pretext when, before I could open my mouth, a shrill woman's voice cried out from the truck, "Another one's off. Both those women have run." Following where they pointed, I saw two slender figures sprinting through the tall weeds, hands clasped together, running in a great hurry. The one in front, tossing two braids, kept glancing back as she ran, seeming to check whether anyone was chasing. In a moment, they vanished into the small woods ahead, and the direction of those woods was precisely the direction of my mountain. Curious, I asked my father, "Pa, what's going on?" He recalled the moment before the crash and even now looked shaken. "Don't get me started. I wanted to hitch a ride to town, and just as we got here, passing that big truck, one of the women jumped off it. If the Jeep driver hadn't been quick, she'd have gone under the wheels. To dodge her, the two of us plowed straight into the truck's rear wheel and ended in the ditch. Just then the truck driver climbed down from the cab with a roster and called the dozen-odd women off. Counting them, sure enough, two were short. Damn it, these two stinking women. Never mind being a headache, they're real troublemakers. The convoy had been short-handed today. He was the only driver bringing this lot into register. Who'd have thought those two would have such nerve as to jump from a moving truck? All right, everybody back on." He checked the truck's rear. The railing had a big dent knocked into it, something he'd have to report and get repaired back home. As for the Jeep driver, he'd already crawled out of his cab. Brother, you all right?" The man had plainly been dazed by the crash and just come to. He glanced at the women on the truck and shook his head. What in the world? Who just jumps off a moving truck? Lucky I cut the wheel fast, or I'd have knocked her flying. So you catch them back. Catch what? It's just me and one other running the truck. Those two are long gone." The Jeep driver's eyes went wide. "What? Two of them ran?" Don't get me started." The truck driver peered down into the ditch, concerned. "Your car all right?" "It's fine. The Jeep driver said carelessly. "Just have the town government write me up a statement later that we two collided, that's all. It's all public business anyway. Neither of us pays for repairs." The truck driver took a hemp rope from the bed and lashed it to the bar behind the Jeep. Both drivers got in, the truck started, and it hauled the Jeep out of the ditch. Vehicles in this era were built solid. The Jeep driver restarted it and found no great problem, just one of the front headlights smashed. The truck driver coiled up the rope and waved. "I'm off, brother. When I've got time back in town, I'll look you up for a drink." A small town has few people, and both being government drivers, they'd crossed paths before. "Sure, go on." Once the truck had driven off, the Jeep driver turned to my father. "Old timer, you all right?" Pa waved a hand. Fine. The driver's eyes went, unthinking, to the passenger door standing ajar. Joshing my father, he went to pull it shut. "If you're fine, are you still coming back to town with me to settle scores?" He worked the door a few times, found it wouldn't close, looked closer. Well now, the door had been wrenched clean out of True by someone's hands. "Brother." The driver looked at my sheepish face. "You've got the strength of an ox, born with it." I scratched the back of my head, embarrassed. "It's just that my pa was in an accident, and, in my panic, I yanked it open like that." I was about to ask whether I needed to pay for it. To my surprise, the man simply gave me a thumbs up. "Awesome, really awesome." He found a rope in the car and tied the door shut to the frame, then asked my father, holding back a laugh, "So, old timer, you still headed into town or not?" "No more." Pa shook his head like a rattledrum. That heart-stopping scene had nearly scared the soul out of him. He'd not ride in any vehicle from now on. Too terrifying. All right, I'm off then, brother. The driver said not a word about compensation. Same reasoning. The repairs weren't coming out of his own pocket, so why waste the breath? I nodded. Careful on the road. Will do. The Jeep drove off. I stared toward where the two women had vanished into the woods. By now the two of them had probably run deep into the mountains. Two city girls, without a single weapon on them, daring to run into the hills. It was no different from feeding themselves to wild beasts. I was rather curious what could make them sooner feed the beasts than be sent down to a village. My father and I ambled back, and on the road ran right into pockmarked Wang driving his ox cart back toward the village, my family's neighbor across the way, the one who'd given me the pups. Oh, what are you two wandering out here for? Hop on, let's chat a bit. Didn't have a soul to talk to the whole way, been dying of boredom. Wang was true to his name, with plenty of pockmarks on his face. Father and son climbed aboard, and I asked, making conversation, Uncle Wang, where'd you go? He wore a disgruntled look. It's that old dog Li Fugui. Had me go to town to fetch a few women, and when I got there they said my ox cart was too small to hold them, said they'd send them by truck. Now you tell me, is that Li Fugui a dog, or isn't he? Then he chuckled. Anyway, it's just us three here, so I'll speak plain. But don't you go telling him to his face that I cursed him, I laughed at once. I wouldn't. My pa doesn't get on with him either. Wang thought that fair enough. Chen Jiangwo and Li Fugui had been at odds since their youth. Otherwise, with my father's ability, he'd have landed at least a brigade leader's post and never taken the forest keeper's job. The three of us grumbled the whole way, and before we knew it the cart reached the edge of the village. I'd thought the truck would head back once it dropped off its load, but the driver was talking to Li Fugui with a worried face. In the brigade yard, a row of young women and girls, and a couple of young wives too, were crammed onto a bench, two of them holding children. I scanned them and could tell these were women who'd come fleeing famine. Seeing us on the ox cart, Li Fugui waved and came trotting over as if he'd seen a savior. Old Chun, nephew, wait, I've got something for the two of you. I could tell with my toes. Li Fugui surely meant to send Pa and me into the mountains to find the two women who'd fled. No sooner had I thought it than he said it. I'm not going. Pa clasped his hands behind his back, displeased. Not unless you get my son's post back for me. Then I'll scurry right up the mountain and find them for you. Never mind, too. I could dig you out 200. Li Fugui's mouth twitched. He looked pained. Old Shun, I told you once already. Your post really wasn't my doing. That's the big leader up above's will. Look, how about this? You help me get those two women back first, and I'll go apply to keep your post for you as best I can. All right. Whatever it took, sweet-talking Chen Jiangwo into fetching the people back was the urgent thing. Once they were back, even if the post wasn't returned, what could the old man do to him? He was village head. That sort of thing was his say-so. No one knew Li Fugui's true character better than my father. He clasped his hands behind his back and sauntered off toward home, tossing back without turning his head, the day the big leaders signed off, and the work permits printed with my son's name. That's the day you come find me again. When it came to going into the mountains, few in the village knew the terrain better than Chen Jiangwo. Seeing my father wouldn't answer, Li Fugui turned to me and squeezed out a fawning smile. Nephew, why don't you take the trip? Look, it's near dark. If those two women are city girls, won't they get done in by some blind-eyed bear or wolf out there? At that moment, I was checking the two women's position in the space. They'd threaded through the woods a good while, then, without the least hesitation, entered the mountains, and were now wandering about halfway up the slope. I watched them a while and couldn't help smiling. City girls each had their own flavor. All right, these two carried themselves nothing like Shenrian and the others. The one in front plainly had good physical stock, brisk and spirited in her bearing. The one behind was rather more delicate, her little face flushed red with heat, her breath a bit uneven, a picture that stirred one's pity. Nephew, did you hear your uncle or not? Getting no response, Li Fugui thought I hadn't caught it and was about to repeat himself when I cut him off. You needn't say anything. My pa's meaning is my meaning. With that, I couldn't be bothered with him further and turned to follow my father home. Afraid our mother would worry, Pa and I, by tacit agreement, said nothing about the crash. Zhao Xiuyan, seeing her old man and her son covered in dirt, brushed the dust off Chen Jiangwo and said, "Where have you two been? Got yourselves this filthy?" Pa gave a chuckle. "Nowhere much, just took a turn in the fields." She plainly didn't buy that story and tugged up his sleeve to show him. "Lie all you like, the fields, is it? Since when does the field leave you smeared with gasoline?" I glanced down. There was gasoline on my trousers too. I hurried to cover for him. "Ah, Ma, a car came from the town, see, and it broke down, so Pa and I helped push it." "Really?" She eyed us both suspiciously, as if trying to read some difference in our faces, and after a good long look found nothing amiss. "Of course it's true. Right, Pa?" Pa caught on and nodded quickly. Right, right, right. We ate lunch at home. I was weighing whether to make a trip to town. That big leader Lu Haiqing spoke of, I'd known him in my last life too, only later, when I was old. Once, going out, the big leader had taken his grandson along, and the boy tumbled into a well by accident. I was the one who fished him out. Everyone said at the time that if I hadn't been quick, the child would have died. Afterward, the big leader said that if my family ever had troubles, I should come to him, but I never felt the need, and so I never went. This life, though, I hadn't yet saved the big leader's grandson. I reckoned the big leader's son wasn't even grown yet. I could hardly toss the man's son down a well just to fish him out again. Turning it over, I decided against going for now. I'd watch things a couple of days first. Full after lunch, I lay down on my little Kong, thinking to nap before heading back. When I opened the space to check the mountain model, I saw 3 jeeps at the foot of the mountain. Lu Haiqing climbed out of one and scurried, all obsequious, to the first car, bowing and scraping as he opened its door. A middle-aged man in a Zhongshan suit stepped out. Was this the big leader? When I saw the big leader arrive, something came back to me. In my last life, before Lu Haiqing took over my father's post, he'd brought the big leader into the mountains for a hunt. It was probably that successful hunt that won the man over. This life's Lu Haiqing was in far more of a hurry than the last. He'd taken a licking from me only that morning, and by afternoon, he'd already ferried the big leader out here to hunt. I bounced up off the Kong and let a slow smile curl my mouth. "All right, Lu Haiqing, you've delivered yourself right to my door." Now that he'd set foot on my turf, how could I fail to play the gracious host? I pushed the door open and hurried out, running straight into my mother, just coming in from washing the dishes. "Third boy, where are you off to? Like your tail's on fire." I chuckled. "Off to watch the fun, big fun." And I kept running. She leaned out and called after me. "What fun? Can your ma come have a look?" But by the time she got the words half out, I was already gone from sight. When did that boy get so fast? She'd meant to tag along and watch. That child, honestly. A little deflated, she turned back into the house and walked straight into her husband's chest. "Aya, you dreadful old man. Why aren't you having your noon nap? What are you standing in the doorway blocking the way for?" As she spoke, she looked at Chen Jiangwo and thought his eyes seemed off, hot, ardent, like a young buck's. It was the sort of look she used to catch from him often in the early days of their marriage. And how many years had rolled by since then? You old fool, what are you doing?" Even as she spoke, he'd already hoisted her up and was carrying her toward the big Kong in the east room. "Wife, I've got a real hankering for it today, and the children happen to be out. Let's have a go." Her weathered face went red. Shameless old thing, at your age, still with that on your mind. But for all her scolding, she went along with it well enough. And before she climbed onto the Kong, she made a point of locking the door. Country folk marry early. The two of them had 5 children between them and were only in their 40s. But from all the heavy labor of his youth, Chen Jiangwo had plainly been running short on vigor these past couple of years. Today, though, he couldn't say what had gotten into him. From the moment he'd come home and laid eyes on his wife, he'd wanted the Kong, and no matter how he tried, that fire wouldn't be pressed down. Had I known I'd made his dose of spirit spring water too strong and restored the old man's former vigor, I'm not sure what I'd have thought. Just then I was near the big leader, watching the group. Lu Haiqing had scrounged up 2 hunting rifles from somewhere and was fawningly discussing with the big leader how to hunt. With the physical constitution I had now, calling my hearing sharp as a fox's ears wouldn't be an exaggeration. 700 or 800 yards off, I could hear their conversation clearly. Lu Haiqing handed a rifle to the big leader, then pointed at a wild hare in the distance and said in a hushed voice, "Look how fat that rabbit is." Game was still plentiful on these mountains in this era, and with the range sealed off all week, the hares had gotten a bit bold, coming out in droves to hop about. The big leader's surname was Zhang, and Lu Haiqing Director Zhanged him at every turn, laying it on thick. "Director Zhang, quick, look, there's a bigger one over there." 2. Oh no, 3. Cradling the hand I'd hurt that morning, Lu Haiqing darted about pointing at the hares. He flustered the big leader so badly that the muzzle wandered from this one to that. Before he could aim, whoosh, all 3 or 4 rabbits scattered and were gone. Seeing them go, Lu Haiqing shut his mouth quick, not daring to jabber more, and said hastily, "It's fine, Director Zhang. Let me take you a few steps ahead. There's bound to be a rabbit warren up there." At the mention of a warren, the big leader's face eased a little. Worried a crowd trailing along would spook the hares, Director Zhang instructed his secretary, "You all wait here. Come collect the game once you hear the shot." "Yes." The secretary and driver nodded. Lu Haiqing waved his lackeys off to wait as well, then, all smiles, led the big leader deep into the woods. Every one of them was so bent on flattering the big leader that none noticed there wasn't a rabbit around anymore. Not so much as a little bird. They'd all flown off. Having driven that rabbit away, I felt it wasn't quite enough. Today Lu Haiqing had come to my door of his own accord. I couldn't let a chance this could slip by. I opened the mountain model, turned it a few times, and suddenly spotted a pair, a male and a female northeast tiger, feeding. From the near-stripped skeleton on the ground, the kill had probably been a boar. I dragged the 2 tigers to near Lu Haiqing's coordinates. The instant I let go, both bolted straight for him. Their speed made me wince. If it wasn't 60 miles an hour, it was at least 50. Good grief. Running through the woods, they left after images. "Director Zhang, quick, look, there's a foolish roe deer over there." Before the big leader could react, Lu Haiqing was so worked up he raised his rifle to fire, only to be cowed back by a single look. "Heh, Director Zhang. You first, you first." The big leader rolled his eyes at him and had barely braced the rifle when the roe deer, as if on purpose, trotted a few steps off, stopped, and stood there watching the 2 of them while it grazed. When Lu Haiqing and the big leader caught up and leveled the rifle again, the silly roe bolted once more, ran a short way, then turned and blinked its innocent eyes at them, as if teasing them for sport. Lu Haiqing got a bit frantic, rolled up his sleeves, and had just raised the gun to squeeze the trigger when the big leader pushed the muzzle up. "Young comrade, why so hasty? Haven't you heard you can't eat hot tofu in a hurry? A roe hide's a fine thing. Ruin it with one shot, and you'll never make a fur vest of it." Lu Haiqing put on a fawning face. Right, whatever you say." Rare that the big leader was in such spirits. Turned out he wasn't after the meat, but the hide. The 2 chased the foolish roe deeper and deeper. How long they walked, no one knew, when from the trees not far off came a rustling, thrashing racket. They looked up to see, in a stretch of woods ahead, every bird startled as one, beating its wings and scattering in flight. And the foolish roe near them stopped chewing the leaves, its little round black eyes wide, nose twitching at some scent. Not good. Lu Haiqing's chest tightened. There was likely some large animal in the woods ahead. The big leader, with no mountain experience, asked, "Why have all those birds flown off?" Even as he spoke, the foolish roe, spooked too, bolted a few wild steps and came flying straight toward them. Seeing the roe charge onto his muzzle, the big leader was overjoyed and raised his gun to fire. A whoo! A roar rang out. From the woods before them lumbered 2 enormous beasts. The moment Lu Haiqing saw them, his calves seized up. Wow, what? Ti tigers. When a man's luck runs out, even cold water gets stuck in his teeth. That was exactly how Lu Haiqing and the big leader felt now. Out for a pleasant little hunt. How in the world did tigers come of it? The 2 were so stunned they couldn't shut their mouths, gaping, drool trailing down their chins onto their clothes. Lu Haiqing couldn't even keep hold of his rifle. It hit the ground with a clatter, drawing the male tiger's attention. Fright made him reach instinctively to pick it up. A whoa! The tiger let out a low growl, and Lu Haiqing dropped straight to his knees. The big leader still gripped his gun, but they were only a dozen yards from the tigers. He knew that in the face of such a beast, at this range, the rifle in his hands was no better than a fire poker. He dared not make any sudden move, edging backward in silence, wondering whether he might climb a tree and escape the calamity. But how would those two beasts give him the chance? A whoa! The big tiger came on with heavy, ringing strides, closing in step by step. Lu Haiqing was so frightened he wet his trousers, his legs shaking beyond control, so despairing he'd shut his eyes to wait for death. To his surprise, when the two tigers had come within 5 yards, they stopped. The imagined savaging never came. Lu Haiqing opened his eyes to look and nearly dropped his jaw. The big male tiger sat bolt upright on the grass, and the female lay beside it, breathing evenly, asleep, by the look of it. A midday nap? Lu Haiqing and the big leader exchanged a glance. If not now, when? Lu Haiqing slowly rose, counting under his breath. 3, 2, 1. Run! For all his nearly 50 years, the big leader ran not a whit slower than Lu Haiqing, left him a good way behind. Wait, wait, Lu Haiqing cried as he ran. Wait for me, wait for me. The two pelted forward for their lives. A whoa! The tigers let out earth-shaking roars. Lu Haiqing felt the very ground quake underfoot, a chill wind sweep up behind him, and a sting at his backside. Before he could look back, he was pinned flat to the ground by a swipe of the male tiger's paw. Ah, help, brother tiger, father tiger. No, grandfather tiger, ancestor tiger, don't eat me, don't eat me. He begged with his eyes shut, trembling all over, terrified the tiger would take his head off in one bite. With him pinned by the male, the female had caught up to the big leader. Whether it was that the big leader ran too fast or the female was in no hurry, man and tiger put on a chase through the woods, the tigress ambling along as if on a stroll, pursuing and roaring by turns. I found a big rock warmed nicely by the sun, lay down on it, and worked the two tigers. The big leader's driver and secretaries were leaning against a big tree, ears pricked as they cooled off, afraid of missing the shot and being too slow to fetch the game and displeasing him. But the more they listened, the more they eyed one another. That's not right. The more you listen, the more it sounds like. Oh, whoa. They looked up and saw the big leader running with his collar askew, in utter disarray, his once neatly slicked hair now standing on end, one shoe lost. Most terrifying of all, ambling along behind him at a leisurely pace, was a great tiger, sauntering as if window shopping. Now and then, when the tiger sped up and nearly caught him, it would even stop and slow a few steps before going on. Mother of, a tiger's after Director Zhang. Someone shouted the word tiger, and the whole crowd scattered in an instant. Run, a tiger's coming. Everyone there was hollering. Those who could get in the cars got in, those who could climb trees climbed. Lu Haiqing's own lackeys took to their heels and vanished in a streak. The big leader thought that if he ran back, the tiger would chase someone else and leave him be, but the beast behind him just seemed to be playing, still ambling after him without stop. Now I sprang down off the rock and patted the dust from my clothes. This was the moment. Time for me to step in. I snapped a willow switch off a nearby tree and, carrying it, walked toward the big leader. By the time I reached him, the female tiger had cornered him under a big tree. His thighs shook uncontrollably. He even suspected Lu Haiqing had already been eaten by the other one. Just as he'd nearly given up hope, I appeared, walked up before them, and waved the willow switch a few times in front of the tiger. To his amazement, the tiger actually left. He stared after its retreating back, dumbstruck. Not for the life of him could he have imagined that a thin little willow switch could scare off such a monster. Having driven the tigress away, I checked Lu Haiqing's situation in the model. I'd had the male cuff him with its paw, and by now he'd been battered out of any human shape, barely clinging to breath. I could have let the tigers finish a man, but I didn't want Lu Haiqing dead, for the dead feel no pain. Only the living, suffering, suffer most. Looking at him now, there was scarcely a patch of unbroken skin left on him, his face a bloody mess. Satisfied, I sent the two tigers back into the deep mountains. Director Zhang, are you all right? I got here too late. I went over, wearing an apologetic face, to help him up. I'm fine. That's what he said, but his legs were still shaking. A few steps into my supporting him, he dropped onto a felled tree stump and couldn't rise again. Seeing the tigers gone, The secretaries and drivers now came down out of the cars and trees. Director Zhang, are you all right? 7 or 8 grown men, and every one of them had hair standing straight up as though he'd been electrified. I finally believed it. At the height of terror, a man's hackles rise like an animal's. Facing their hollow show of concern, Director Zhang glared and cursed. Clear off, the lot of you. Keep away from me. Whoosh, all 7 or 8 left, and only I remained. The big leader steadied himself and asked me gently, Young man, what's your name, and what work do you do? I gave my name honestly, but at the mention of my work I paused and left it vague. I was to take over my father's post here, keeping the forest, but it seems I may not get the chance now. I put on a deliberately melancholy air, and the big leader frowned. The Liu family had come asking him to sort out a job for their man, and he hadn't yet agreed. It was some sort of forest keeper's post, he'd heard. This very afternoon when he'd come to inspect, Liu Chang's nephew had said it was hunting season, with plenty of game on the hills, and his fingers had itched, so he'd tagged along. Clearly, it was that nephew of Liu Chang's who wanted to snatch this young man's job. He reached up unthinkingly to adjust the glasses that had long since flown off, and said earnestly, Young man, don't worry. Your job won't be lost. Come, ride back to town with me right now, and I'll see to your paperwork myself. The more the big leader looked at his savior, the more he liked him. He pulled me into the car and made straight for town. All the way, the driver hardly dared breathe, afraid of drawing the big leader's notice and getting himself fired or reassigned later, which would cost him all the perks he enjoyed. I said little of my own accord the whole trip, only answering the big leader's questions, how many mouths in the family, how life was going, whether we had enough grain to eat. At the commune in town, the big leader first took me back to his office and stamped the official seal on the handover paperwork. Then he laid on a lavish dinner for me and brought along his wife and his son and daughter. If his daughter hadn't been so young, and I not already married, I think he'd have kept me on the spot as a son-in-law. By the time we'd finished, it was around 7 in the evening. I wanted to head home, but the big leader insisted I stay a few days, promising to show me around town the next day and telling me to bring my family along sometime. But the thought of Shen Ruyan and the others waiting at the cabin kept me from staying. Uncle Zhang, my wife's up on the mountain and I can't rest easy, so I won't linger. I'll bring my family to see you and Auntie another time when I can. Hearing that, Director Zhang didn't press me, but had his wife fry up several meat dishes at a restaurant and bought a good deal from the supply co-op besides. Malted milk extract, hard candy, canned yellow peaches, and the like, 2 big bags packed full. Once all that was done, the big leader arranged a car to drive me home. The car stopped at our gate, and the driver opened my door with great deference and helped fetch the things from the trunk. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought I'd become an official in town. My father and eldest brother were in the yard grinding soybean flour. Seeing me come in, they set down their work and stared, transfixed, at the little car outside. Third boy, what's all this? I took the bags from the driver with a smile and told him, Brother, many thanks. You head back now. The driver nodded and said politely, Sure. Director Zhang's given the order. From now on, whenever you need a car, just phone the brigade office and I'll come fetch you. Good. Sorry to trouble you, brother. Thank Uncle Zhang for me when you're back. At that, the driver bowed to Chen Jiangwo and Chen Dashu, startling the two of them into a big step backward. The car drove off, and Chen Dashu sidled up to me. Third boy, what's going on? How'd you come back in a director's car? I smiled and ran through it all. The big leader's hunt that afternoon, the tigers we'd run into, and how I'd driven them off. My father and brother listened dumbstruck. My mother, hearing voices, came out, and, learning her son had driven off tigers, circled him several times. Son, the tigers didn't hurt you, did they? How could you be so foolish? They weren't even after you. Why get mixed up with them? If one had taken a bite out of you, what would your ma do? Letting her fuss over me, I reassured her, Don't worry, Ma. I'd never have stepped in without being 100% sure. Had I not been able to control the tigers, of course I'd never have risked playing hero to save anyone. She rolled her eyes at me. Don't go doing this sort of thing again, you hear? You've got a home and a livelihood now. You've got parents and a wife too, and a couple of little ones on the way next year. The good days are still ahead. From now on you learn to treasure your life, understand? I understand, Ma. I knew she was only worried for me, So of course I wouldn't argue. From the 2 bags of food, I took out several boxes of dishes, some hard candy, 2 jars of campeches, and some flaky pastry cakes. Pa, Ma, big brother, it's dark out, I'm heading back. I'm afraid Rian and the others will be frightened. Besides, those 2 newly arrived city young ladies were still wandering the mountain in circles. I'd set things so no large beasts would come near them, but it was dark now, and being 2 girls, they'd surely be scared. Food in hand, I made straight for the cabin. As for Shun Rian and the others, their fear wasn't so much of the dark as of the future, of my not wanting them. From the moment I'd left that morning, Xiao Wanqiu had been like an ant on a hot pan, unable to sit still, going to the door every few minutes to see whether I was back. In the end, she couldn't sit at all and paced the yard all afternoon, until she'd worked Shun Rian into an anxious state too, as if I truly wouldn't be coming back. Hearing Xiao Wanqiu's restless footsteps in the yard, Lin Rui inside couldn't bear it either and edged slowly to the door to ask what on earth was going on. Before Shun Rian could speak, Xiao Wanqiu rattled off the morning's events. Lin Rui had heard the quarreling and the sounds of a fight outside that morning, but hadn't understood what happened. Once Xiao Wanqiu explained, she grew anxious too. They'd finally found a temporary refuge, and only a few days on it was already faltering. Their families had all been wronged, but when they might be exonerated, no one could say. If they were shuffled off through several more villages, they truly couldn't guarantee they'd live to see the day of their vindication. So the 3 worried themselves through lunch without a bite. All afternoon, not one of them cracked so much as a smile. That evening, Shun Rian boiled a little porridge, and among the 3, they didn't finish a single bowl. So the 3 waited in the yard, watching the sky darken bit by bit, the hope in their hearts dimming along with it. Until a clatter of footsteps rose, and Xiao Wanqiu shot up off her stool. Is that Brother Chen back? Shun Rian ran with her to the gate and peered toward the sound. But the one who came was not me. It was that village head they all found so distasteful, Li Fugawei. Behind him followed 2 women, each carrying a child, both babies held in their arms, a few months old by the look of them. Standing outside the fence, Li Fugawei asked Shun Rian and Xiao Wanqiu, is nephew Shanlin home? I've got something to see him about. Shun Rian shook her head. No. Whatever it is, come back tomorrow. She really wanted to tell him not to come again. In a few more days, for all she knew, they might have starved to death. But Li Fugawei had no intention of leaving, and said to the 2 women behind him, then let's wait here a while. Then, to Shun Rian in the yard, say, open the gate and let these 2 in to sit a bit. Holding babies is tiring. I won't come in myself. I'll just stand out here and wait for my nephew to get back. Shun Rian and Xiao Wanqiu exchanged a glance. Neither made any move to open the gate. It's too late. It's not convenient to open the gate. You'd best head back for now.